laners have ultimate, so they can maybe choose to fight this. The taunt does come in onto him, looking for the stun, but Vlad pops into his pool, flashing away, but the stun does come through from the Sejuani. They just need a little bit more CC, but the Hemo Plague will probably keep them away and make sure the Vlad does not go down. Stun comes through onto Kevin Man while he has the Black Shield on, so the CC does not come through, but they're forcing the heal out of him. Another Winter's Bite connects to Temple, flashing over. He wants this kill. He pops the heal. Couple more autos. First blood over to Bohemians. Burnsy takes that one, and the underdogs showing some fight here in the early game.
Great aggression coming out of Tedblon there, recognizing that he wants to secure the kill and get that dominance in lane, get a bit of farm and push the lane in. Really good reactions there out of them. So it'll be interesting to see, but it's been great to see the reactions from each team when the jungler shows up, but more action up top.
Limitless looking for another gank in the top lane. He's low on mana, but he does have enough to make the stun happen. However, Moo has his mount, has his flash. That's a tough gank to really pull off there, so maybe just relieving pressure for Red Panda.
But now I wonder if we're going to see Relax Boy punish the bot lane for that aggression with their flashes. They're down all their summoners, so there's an opportunity for him to go in once he hits 6 with the Chilling Smite and catch someone.
Certainly, and it's going to be a long time before Tedblon wants to build that Quicksilver Slash as well, so Skarner will have a very fun time when he hits level 6 and gets that Impale if he can get to Tedblon. Like you said, no flash available, so it's going to be the easiest he's probably going to find it to get to that Tristana for the time being. But right now, both have to be happy. They were falling a little bit behind in gold just in terms of the lanes, but now their bot lane has a nice advantage that they can work with.
Absolutely, they definitely do. I mean, we're looking now mid lane. You know, actually the Vlad, who we weren't sure how he would match up against the Orianna, is ahead in farm.
Hawkins doing a good job here against Beely Ray Dyrus, coming in with a pick that we didn't expect to perform too amazingly, but seems to be doing alright in the early lane here. And we saw that when they engaged on him in the river, it's tough to get that Vlad, especially when he had the flash available. Obviously he's down now, but he still has the pool. He still might have his ultimate when it comes to that, so he can heal a lot of the health back. So if Hawkins plays it safe enough, he's practically impossible to engage on if Bohemians want to go that way.
Yeah, so we're exciting it now. As you can see over there, Skarner has now hit level 6, so has Sejuani, so we'll be seeing a lot more action coming out of them, hopefully. Just been updated that some of the issues is unfortunately due to the venue, but hopefully we have that fixed and we'll have our team working on it.
Yeah, we get that resolved quickly as possible, and we can have a smooth game for both of these teams. Considering how even it is, it would be unfortunate if there was one that got too much of an advantage here. We see a nice trade coming in for Red Panda in the top lane. I'm not sure if he managed to take out Skarl there and put Moo in a bit of a trickier situation, but Moo will be happy to trade with those violent tendencies to get his mount back. And like you said, it's just tough to go against this class sometimes, to really just play against the way how he loses that and then he gets all his health back at the last minute and then he has to lose it again and things like that. But I think Red Panda happy to just play for his team right now, and both looking for control over the Drake area, seemingly getting a good handle in terms of vision, although Bray as well have a good few wards there.
Yeah, they definitely do. I'm Limitless roaming bot, trying to kind of push that advantage, but Bray not giving them the opportunity to. It'll be interesting to see what Skarner does as a reaction, and Moo going in.
He's knocked off Skarl there, but still gets quite a bit of damage onto Red Panda's Shen, and he has to be careful. This is where it is really tough. They're even in health, but a few autos from Moo will swing a trade very quickly in his favor. So Shen's going to have to be careful here in this 1 versus 1, and Bows right now just seemingly resetting with a bit more passiveness here. Kevin Man and Munch Stealer paying this bot lane a bit more respect now, and Burnsy and Tedblon not looking to make plays for the moment here, so they're kind of just working with what they have already. Another team choosing to try and make plays for objectives just yet.
Both teleports down in the top lane, but obviously Red Panda Shen with his ultimate gives them, and Moo really bullying and taking control of that lane with 1 damage item, if it can even be called that. He's got his boots level 2, so what happens when he completes his item?
Yeah, that I believe it's Black Cleaver you take on the Kled first. I haven't gone for the Kled in quite some time, so
that's what it used to be, but like you said, it's been quite a while. He got a few nerfs, and the items have changed quite a lot since then, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. It would make sense that it's a Black Cleaver, but yeah. Don't know, we'll have
something like that. Moo will certainly be looking to just take even more control of this 1 versus 1, but he's not killing the Shen yet, and the Shen is beginning to get a bit of armor in, so he'll be doing nicely. It was Tiamat So he has that for the little bit of extra push as well. And the damage in that lane. And that's something that Bray will be keeping their eye on and watching out. They also have Hawkins with that small advantage in the mid lane. And now he has the Proto Belt. He can go for these aggressive trades against the Orianna, and the Orianna will have a tough time just dealing with the Vlad, who is so slippery and so tough to really keep down in a lane like this.
No, massively so, and paired with the Skarner, you need to be careful about the harass you take, because if they're able to suppress you, and then same with the Hemo Plague and that damage, it doesn't matter if you flash shield out afterwards, you might die, and Hawkins is taking the Ignite, which recently got buffed to make it more impactful in lane.
Ignite can really hurt you if you are not wary of it now with those recent buffs coming in, so I imagine that's why Billy Ray Dyrus is paying this Vladimir a lot of respect in the lane. Right now though, both have a few members grouped around the bottom side. There is Relaxed Boy Skarner close to that area as well. If they do want to make the fight happen, and they go in, they have Kevin Man, exactly who they want. Just need to proc the custom blows and Limitless will get that kill. Once again, Bows look for the fight bot lane and find another kill, 2-0.
What does Skarner do now, though? He seems to be rotating around, but he's actually caught out in a bit of a bad position.
Shockwave will connect here. They're looking for Relaxed Boy on the side, trying to engage on the Skarner here, and they will be able to slow him for quite some time. Birdsey as well hits the Witcher's Bite, and this is a Skarner going down. Limitless finds 2 off the back of that passage of play, and Bohemians finding the kills that they definitely wanted in this early game.
And that's without even the Shen coming in to help them, so it's a fight that really wasn't great. And this is something you need to watch, because the junglers are so important in this meta. Just a bit of harass coming, but junglers have such a huge impact, and obviously when you see Limitless in the bot lane and getting Kevaban out, you've got to look to where is Relaxed Boy going to go. How is he going to turn the revealing of where Limitless into an advantage? And unfortunately just turned it into a bigger disadvantage by getting caught out.
He was, like you said, just trying to make that play, trying to counteract it in the mid lane, but Billy Ray Dyrus played it defensively enough. He knew he had the team coming to help him out, and the Skarner was caught. 3-0 now to Bows. They take the Cloud Drake as well. Not the best Drake to get, but I mean, that move speed is always appreciated, especially when it comes to avoiding some of the engage that will be coming out from Bray. So, nice job from them to get that early objective for themselves, but the goal is still very even, just because of these individual advantages that Bray have been able to generate.
No, definitely, it does look good. Bray, their mechanics, just the foundation, so good. And we can see that the stronger mid laner and top laner are just starting to outform, which is how they're keeping in line. But they need to be careful, because it's now 3 kills over to the side of the Bohemians. And nicely spread, Sejuani getting 2 of those. So not necessarily the ideal placement, but nonetheless, the assist going to the right people. And it's a little bit extra gold, which can help them get ahead. And it's when we expected is Keverman and Munch Stealer to dominate that bottom lane and to kind of make it uncomfortable for Ted Blonde, but it actually went the other way.
And we saw Limitless in that bottom lane looking for yet another gank, but he was on a ward as he was in the side lane rush, so nothing coming for him there. Keverman and Munch Stealer, I feel as if they know that they have a target on their backs at this point, considering how focused down they have been when Limitless has gone to that bot lane over the last few minutes. So they'll know that they need to play it defensive. Tristana is just edging it out in terms of the advantage. Gone for the Infinity Edge rush, as opposed to splitting between the BF Sword and the Zeal. So a little less attack speed coming through, but those crits will hurt a little bit more. Limitless will find Relaxed Boy in the jungle now, and Billy Ray Dyrus has priority. Looking to pull the Skarner back in. The stun comes in, and once again, Relaxed Boy punished for being a little bit too far forward. Bohemians are really rolling now.
They definitely are, and I've got to say, Limitless is playing really well. He's creating so much pressure around the map and reacting well to the invades and Relaxed Boy. He's reading Relaxed Boy like a book, really. And Relaxed Boy needs to be careful, because he's overextended twice. Bad positioning, and he's given up 2 kills now.
Yeah, and that one goes over to the Orianna. They finally have a 1 kill on one of their carries, so Billy Ray Dyrus will take that. Given the pressure he's been under, it's nice to get a little bit of extra gold from picking a kill onto the enemy jungler here. So the mid laners should be about even in terms of gold right now, given that kill going over to the Orianna, and that is another side relief for Bows. They have the slight advantage here, and they're looking to get first tower as well, but Munch Stealer going in with the Soul Shackles. Almost forced to use that to get them off the tower, because if he hadn't done that, that tower is pretty much going down.
Pings for assists in bot lane there, and I wonder if the Brave Wanderers are kind of falling apart a little bit with their communication, because Skarner is farming, Munch Stealer forced to use the Chains of Corruption, doesn't get anything with it, and that actually would have been beautifully comboed with Skarner's ultimate. which is down at the moment, but nonetheless.
Yes, certainly. Even able to lock up Ted Blonde there, and Kevin Mann could just pop the trap under, and you got a lot of quick damage onto him here. But the wave coming into the tower, Skarner is waiting in the wings, but I think Ted Blonde already has that. Limitless able to get to the fight first here. Once again, they go right for Kevin Mann. Rocket jump comes in, and Limitless on a killing spree. They turn straight back onto the Skarner, and Relaxed Boy will fall for the 3rd time this game. Moo and Hawkins, though, have made it to the lane. They might be able to turn this fight. Go for the Tristana. Ted Blonde jumping away, flashing away, trying to create the distance, but he is going the wrong way. Moo going to charge him down and take the kill here. Munch Stealer, though, he's caught out. Witcher's Bite will not connect here, but they should be able to get the damage onto this Morgana when the stun comes through. And Billy Ray Dars goes over the wall, looking for the shockwave. Flashes in, but Hawkins with a nicely timed pool. One more auto will lock him up. Double kill for the Sejuani off the back of this fight. And Moo is on his own. He's just trying to get up one cleanup kill onto Red Panda here. But the Shen has the defenses coming through. Stun will mean death for the Bray top laner. And I believe that's a delayed ace for Bose off the back of that fight. An absolutely monumental win for them.
5-4-0. Really great play coming out of Bohemians there and destroying the Bray. Actually, sorry, no, it wasn't. It was 5-4-1.
5-4-1.
They did take out Ted Blonde. Sorry, that was it. But terrible coordination coming out of Bray there. They gave up the lane, a lane that they really should have won. Limitless correctly focused it, but it was what we would expect him to do given the performance out of their bot lane last week, and Relaxed Boy just was nowhere to be seen to counter that aggression or to help push the advantage that the first pick Caitlyn should have.
I mean, you talked about Limitless and how he was relieving Relaxed Boy, and that time he just beat him to the punch. That Sejuani was first into the fight and got onto Kevin Man, and taking that Caitlyn away means that all your immediate damage is off the board. They got the teleports in later, but then Bohemians did a great job of just stalling it out. Ted Blonde was going down no matter what, but they spent ages chasing him, long enough to get the members back in position to continue the fight, and as a result they take it. That's a 5-kill Sejuani now.
That's
Limitless.
Huge. And then
I mean,
Billy Ray Dyrus came round. All of that we're talking about was actually a 4v5, and they still managed to take it and only lose one person. By the time Billy Ray Dyrus came in, no one died. They wiped out the team, and this is just not looking good for Bray, who were talking you know, so confidently, but Bohemians are doing a great job. But we see Moo going aggressive again, trying to exert his dominance.
Yeah, he needs to get back on top of that 1 versus 1 to punish Red Panda in that matchup here. But great start for Bose in this game. Things were looking good in what we heard from the scrims, and they are coming out showing crazy amounts of coordination here, and that is really working out well for them. Second tower of the game. The goal lead just keeps developing, close to 4K at this point, and off the back of the last passage of play, they have managed to overcome the deficits they were facing in those solo lanes and really turn into a big lead for their carries, and especially their jungler.
And they're definitely going to be focusing on this mid tower now. And we look at Hawkins backing out, but they're rotating to try and protect it. But we have Baron spawning in 30 seconds, and the Bohemians are in a pretty good position. You have a Drake there, Mountain Drake, which is going to be great for objective taking, and so effective on a Tristana who just wants to hammer turrets.
Certainly, Mountain Drake will help Tristana when she pops the bomb on the tower and just completely explodes at him. We'll be going over to Bose here with pretty much no contest from Relaxed Boy, who isn't close enough to do it. And I like what Bose have done here as well. They also have that objective on the vision, I should say, over the objective on the top side of the jungle with that Baron spawning. So if they can catch Bray out, they can maybe make a play for that given the control they have right now. Things looking very good for them here, and right now seemingly looking to group up mid lane for a bit of a siege on this mid tower.
Moo has completed his Black Cleaver, so that's a nice item power spike. It'll be interesting to see what he can use that to convert, because as much as he was doing quite a lot of damage and out farming Red Panther, he did very little damage to the top tower. As we can see on the mini-map, it's actually near full health. So right now, Bray have to be a little bit uncertain because they look uncoordinated. Keverman is on the back foot, and it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, not really resembling his Varus performance from last week right now. He has just been focused so hard by Bo's strategy in this game, and it is working to great effect here. Big advantage for Ted Blonde in terms of those items. He actually went for the rapid fire cannon as opposed to that static shiv. They did nerf the static shiv on the most recent patch and buffed the rapid fire cannon there, so definitely, I mean, it's looking good for him right now. Will allow him as well just to play around those fights a little bit and poke a little bit with the extra range. Hawkins though, ooh, he wanted that fight, but Ted Blonde got away.
I mean, I'm going to say it's a misclick. Because
Maybe,
he can't CC Ted Blunt, so what's he expecting to do?
Certainly, I mean, Vladimir's not going to really burst you out. He has a lot of quick damage, but not enough to really kill a Tristana. And heal was available. He had the Buster Shot for coming out of the Vladimir pool. Also the Rocket Jump, which was all Ted Blunt needed there. So
yeah, that was a very interesting play coming out of Hawkins. I definitely am starting to think here that there's some issues around Bray. Maybe thinking frustrated, falling behind, and they're not sure how to handle that pressure. And that's a big thing. Like, and then a lot of other teams are going to be watching this and questioning whether it's this simple to beat Bray. Ban a couple of guys in mid and focus bot, and is that all it takes to win?
Burnsy thinking of seeing if he can pick off the Vladimir here, but it is tough to take him out. The pool is used, and it will force Hawkins back. You do have to give over a bit of health to use that. The teleport actually coming in. That's completed by Moo here. They want to go for the fight. Charge will be used here, and he should be able to get onto Burnsy. Stand United to try go onto the Braum here, but nicely timed flash means that he's okay. A Relax Boy once again very far forward, having to flash away, but the Glacial Fissure still connects onto him. They're looking for one more auto. The Shockwave does come in though, catches out Hawkins to open up the fight for Bose here. Push Stealer the next target, but he gets away with the flash and the heal of Kevin Man. Moo as well forced to flash away. Everyone just popping these summoners to stay alive on Bray. They still lose the fight 1-0. They lose all the pressure over that area of the map, and there is nothing stopping Bose right now. Red Panda getting the last flash out of Kevin Man there, and Bose look so unstoppable right now when it comes to turning around these fights.
Absolutely, and when you can delete a Vladimir that easily, one that, I mean, he didn't even get a chance to pop his hourglass. This is really good play coming out of Bose, and really uncoordinated play coming out of Bray, and they're going to convert this into another turret up top. But good damage coming out of Kevin Man, but he is low. Are they really going to go?
Do finish off the tower with one last auto. However, Bose taking quite a bit of damage sticking to that, so they will back off. It's only one more tower, but okay, there's the internet issues coming in maybe again. We saw.
Unfortunately, yeah, so unfortunately, guys, where we are, this is out of our control. It's the venue is providing the internet. They're having a few issues, and it's impacting the game. We're doing our best to kind of secure it and make sure that we get back in, but we'll have to jump back. But wow, Bose doing amazing.
A very good, like I talked about before the game how it was a case of both had this very defined strategy and working around the bot lane, and they have just played that absolutely beautifully this game. They, as soon as Sejuani hit level 6, it would just go straight to the bot lane, fight the Caitlyn, kill the Caitlyn, get an advantage on the bottom side of the map, and then Limitless as well, just using his team, managing to catch out that Skarner as well, and they were just able to snowball kills. And when you have that advantage in the bot lane, especially on a Tristana, it is so easy to take that first tower and just move very far ahead in terms of gold.
And then while the kills have not necessarily been going to the carries as you would want, you definitely, they're in a situation where they're able to convert these things. Guys, we're back in the game, which is great to hear. It looks like things are being fixed, at least for now, but I hope you didn't jump off. We definitely hope it's going to be fixed. But yeah, like we were saying, really great play coming out of Teflon and Burnsy in the bot lane, because we would have thought they would have been a bit on the back foot, but they went aggressive. They understood not only their own win conditions, but also the win conditions of Bray and how to shut that down. Complete read of their opponents.
Bose with an excellent first 23 minutes in this game. We have seen this before though. Just to call it back to a couple of Bray's previous games, they have fallen behind in the early game before, and they managed to pull these fights together. They don't have the Azir this time around, which might change things. We're seeing a couple of members on different picks for this game, so is it the champions or is it the players? That's got to be the question, because if Bray can engineer the miracle team fights like they did in their previous matchups, then maybe they can find their way back into this one as they have in the first 2 weeks of competition.
It is a big hold to come back from. Nearly 5k, we're 25 minutes in, but like you said, they've done it before, and they're very aware of their weaknesses being the early game. They said it in the interview with Holly, so there is an opportunity. But look at the Tristana just destroy this mid tower, just rips it to shreds. Not much they can do, and now that's it. That's all of the outer turrets taken away, as well as the tier 2 on the top for Bray, which really opens the map up for Bohemians. And with the right ward placement, they can actually just take over.
Yeah, now even more opportunity for them to control the vision on the map over the next while. And given how just consistently they've been taking these fights, you imagine that Baron is something realistic for them, or even an opportunity for them to force a fight against the enemy team here. Right now, content to push down the mid lane. Might not be the best strategy. You're pushing it to a Caitlyn who can be tricky to really deal with those traps being laid down. So especially when it gets to these inner towers, things become a bit tougher. But Bohemians, a lot of opportunities for them to go for these fights if they get to the neutral objectives. And right now they seem content with just keeping the 4-1 going.
You know, the thing is, looking at the comp, Brave really... They took a comp where they couldn't fall behind, because right now you have Skarner who has to dive in to grab someone, suppress them. You have Moo, who's only, I mean, Kled's only way of moving is forward. As he says, charge constantly. But they're now charging into a team that can destroy them. You can't lock Ted Blood down. He has a lot of escapes. You have Burnsy to peel. You have Billy Ray Dyrus, who can put a lot of damage down. He's now sitting on 2-0-3, having completed 2 items, or 1.5 really, but in a really strong position. And a Sejuani that can stun you and is 5-0-4.
Yeah, Limitless is very beefly frontline to have to get through here, and Bohemians now looking for their second Mountain Drake of the game. They have been on point with securing these Elemental Drakes, and once again, that will just add to their ability to get these objectives later in the game. Red Panda doing quite nicely in the 1v1 against Moo. He has enough resist now that the Kled isn't really troubling him here. Obviously, it's tricky to really watch out about that Scarl Baron when he's going to get his mouth back, but I mean, this has to be a big sigh of relief for Bohemians, that their top laner can stand in that 1 versus 1, because that is where Shen wants to be. He is much better at getting across the map when the fights break out elsewhere.
No, absolutely. It's great to see Red Panda be able to eat those hits, and I don't think Moo expected him to be able to do that and do the damage in return. So things are just looking so good for the Bohemians. And are they now rotating to Baron? Or just clearing wards?
They are certainly going to be able to clear out these wards.
With 2 mountains, they definitely can shred it.
Yeah, 2 mountains, but Tristana as well, really good for breaking that down, but I think they'll need to create a bit more space if they're going to do that. Right now, though, potentially thinking of a pick coming here, and actually we do see the Tormented Soil procs the Aerie. Nice job from Morgana to catch that one out before there was any untoward surprises meeting bows there. Limitless, though, he has caught out Kevin Man. Glacier Prison comes in. They are going straight for the AD carry, and Kevin Man is Kevin gone. They're looking for a relax point next to the fight. The Impale was used, but the damage is not there onto his target. Burnsy on a killing spree of all people, and Bows once again just so crisp on pulling the trigger. You step 1 step too far forward, and you are gone. Red Panda takes out Hawkins as well, so that is 3 in the graveyard for Bray here, and we were talking about the Baron. Now is the perfect time.
It absolutely is, and Relax Boy just basically dragged someone closer to him to kill him. There was nothing there. He grabbed him down. Kevin Man way too far forward alone and caught out. And Bose, that's it. To my opinion, they're grabbing this game. You see Kled trying to put some pressure down Bob, but Shen is already rotating down there. Baron on 5 members, and they're going to go back to base, reset. Mid lane is pushed in, top lane is pushing in, and things are really not looking good for Bray.
Bohemians now with a 7k goal lead, and might be set to make it a whole lot more with the Baron buff over the next few minutes. We'll see what answer Bray has here. You can see they're trying to keep moving those side lanes. He's been chipping away, taking out those towers, but when Bray can set themselves, or Bows can set themselves, I would say, when they can keep the Shen in the side lane and have the rest of the team pushing, then they don't have that pressure from the Kled anymore. Their team has shown that they're just falling to these engages time and time again. Bray looking really desperate right now. They need to find some change in the game plan to really counteract this.
This is very surprising coming from them, considering what we saw in the first 2 weeks. It's not this level of play. They look so uncoordinated, and I wonder if something just happened and just had an impact. But Moo having to blow his ultimate just to escape. It's not great when you're playing on one of you and his flash.
Yeah, giving up everything there to get out of that one. I mean, once again, Bohemians, that's just another great call. This Kled is too far forward. We pick him off, we get his summoners out, we take away his pressure, and now we can push this tower down. And looks like it's going to be the last outer tower going down here. Bray aren't even really looking to contest this. It's tough to defend this when you're facing this kind of deficit, so they're just waiting on the inhib towers. They'll get the traps down, and maybe they can do a little bit of a better job when it comes to keeping this tower standing for the next few minutes.
But Vlad TPing in, you gotta wonder, is that really worth it? And wouldn't it have been better potentially to TP behind and try to initiate something? But with Red Panda pushing the top lane now, what happens? We have Kled rotating to the top, but there's so much pressure coming out of the bows, and they're so far ahead, and they're able to do so much damage. And, you know, this Tristana pick coming out so well.
We do see the shockwave hits 3 under the tower. Kevaman almost 100 to 0. The Limitless finishes the job. Hawk is trying to get at the enemy team, but he is so low before the Zhonya's pops. And Templar says thank you very much. The kills now just rolling in here for Bose. That is 3 dead on the side of Bray. Only Relax Point and Moo left alive here. And you have to think that Bose will be going for the gain here. They just find the perfect engage throughout the game from minute 1 to the end here at 30 minutes. And they came in as underdogs. They came against the team that were undefeated 2-0. And Bose completely stick it to them and move to 2-1.
Absolutely incredible play coming out of them, and they should be feeling so good about that. Billy Ray Diana is coming out with a huge ultimate. They're catching 3 people, basically deleting Kevaman, and Limitless just unafraid, so fed, dives in, finishes them off, and there's the game. It's gone.
I was expecting Bose to take it to them, but just the level of coordination coming out from this team was absolutely crazy. They had a clear game plan. They looked to be communicating very clearly. They looked to be executing their team fights exactly as they needed to, and when they had that lead, they just played the strategy that was perfect for them to close out the game. Just find these fights on the isolated members, and I think on the other side as well, Bray just not paying the respect, and when they were falling very far behind, you could see a few members just making mistakes that this team weren't making in the first few games.
No, not at all. And you know, talking to Kevaman earlier, gave him the MVP last week. His positioning and his play was so good last week, and then it's so out of whack, getting caught out in weird positions and getting destroyed. And Caitlyn has, with her net, is able to actually reposition herself. So I'm very surprised to see this level of play coming out of Bray, but so great to see such a dominating performance out of Bose, because yeah, they went 1-1 in weeks 1 and 2, but they obviously have learned from that, built on it, and then managed to get to 2-1 now, and they must be feeling really, really confident going forward.
Certainly, that is a big statement win for Bose. I believe we're going to the other game that is taking place right now. Dundalk against St. Pat's. Both these teams 1-1. Both these teams looking to secure another win. And we drop into it. St. Pat's looking to do very good. This is a team that tends to be very good in the early game here. And they have once again got themselves a nice lead. They look to get a few towers in the sidelines.
Yeah, no, St. Pat's definitely having a 6k gold lead at 20 minutes is pretty good. And a lot of that gold on a Cogmore, and that's not what you want to see if you're on the other side of the team. But looking at the team comps, fairly traditional, nothing. Both teams got very good team comps, but it just looks like one is executing a lot better. And there we go, as we come in, 2 turrets going over to the Pats. A lot of gold.
A lot of gold coming in there. Like you said, that Cogmore 4, 1 and 2. And the Caitlyn Morgana lane, that is a lane that should be strong. You should be on top at 20 minutes as the Caitlyn here, but this Cogmore is just so far ahead, and they have the Braum to protect you. You'll have a bit of peel from your tanks as well, and museums could be set up for quite a bit of success. The picks for Walkerlad and Blade just not working out as they needed.
I mean, Gwynsu and Blade of the Ruined King completed on him, and Caitlyn is really looking for that 3-item spike, and she's not even completed her second one. That is not a lane I would want to be playing against, and I would not want to be up against a Cogmore. Darkcelion looking to put some pressure.
He was looking for the engage there with the Glacial Prison, but not choosing to go in on it there, so the Sejuani ultimate is down for the moment. However, Pats do still have control of the Baron area here. They're keeping Gloob in the 1v1 against Voltum next, and the Gnar getting a little bit of resists here. The Mount that's the early Thornmail, so we'll see how that goes, because Gloob generally relegated to the tanks for his team. The Gnar a little bit more of carry potential. He's coming in against the sub on the side of Dundalk, who on this Maokai will be looking for more of a team fight impact than anything.
We can see that the TP is down on the side of Maokai, so just keeping Gloob engaged, who also doesn't have his TP, pushing into tower. But Voltum next definitely making a good showing as a sub, and to be honest, actually all our subs I think today have really stepped it up, and I wonder if some of the teams might be happy to have them.
Yeah, you know, just make a few swaps to your players, see if you can pick up a nice subs, because we saw, like you said, a lot of them have been doing very well today. However, the engage coming in mid lane, C-Prom dodging a lot of the CC, but the stun come through for Syndra. Press or kill person, that's the name of the game for MyCool. And Dundalk with one more kill on the board here, and finding a nice pick there is always good when you're behind.
Yeah, I guess when you have enough people, you don't have to hit those skill shots, do you? But Voltum next, putting a lot of pressure on this bot tower, and rotation mid from Dundalk. Looks like, I wonder if they'll be able to get their first tower on the board. but we can see St. Pat's rotating over, and Museum so strong right now.
They're looking for the engage here. Costa Corda going to jump back in, but he's already very low on the Zac. The Cell Division does get popped here. Museum's looking for damage on the back line, while the rest of the team cleans up the Zac blobs. Museum steps back. One more auto from the Cogmod to take that return kill here. Dundalk had the pick, but committed too much for the tower and gave up one member.
Absolutely, they did. Once Museum arrived, I think they needed to back off there, because now he is 5-1-2. Just more kills, more gold going over, and they're going for the Baron.
Yeah, they think they can do this. They have pushed the members back, and I don't think that Dundalk really have the vision on this. There are no wards in the immediate vicinity. There's no members over there to contest it at all, and I know they're missing their jungler, but not even trying to fight this. Baron to St. Patrick's, and this is a really good time if they want to start these sieges with the Cogmod. They can do so now with the help of the Baron buff.
What an amazing call coming out of St. Pat's, recognizing that with the Zac down, they can clear out any vision, which actually ended up not even being there, and that they can burn down the Baron safely and fairly quickly with that Cogmod, who's so fed.
And Museum's 5-1-2 now on this Cogmod. Dundalk need to be getting to him in the team fights if they are to stand a chance when it comes to the 5v5s, because we all know what a Cogmod can do when he is fed here. So you can imagine you'll see the Zac and the Syndra angling for Museums, and it's up to St. Patrick's to defend their big carry right now. Make sure that he has the protection available, because all it takes is a little bit of space for him, and with that Bio-Arcane Barrage, he will melt anyone on the side of Dundalk.
But if there is anyone that can delete 100-0, it is Syndra. She can just find him, point and click, and there's not much more to that. So be a lot of pressure on Miko for correct target and not wasting his ultimate. And we'll have to see how that goes, but already Baron at sub 25 minutes, confident call, and they're pushing in the top lane and bot and mid.
Looking to go for a 1-1-3, kind of an alteration of a 1-3-1, but I mean, they do have the Talia to move to that top lane if a fight does break out with the Weavers of Wall here. The Nard does not have a teleport, so Gloob will be camped out in the bot lane for the time being here, but they are splitting up the defenses of the Dock effectively, already with a lot of damage on that top tower, bottom tower as well, taking quite a few hits. And once again, this is another case of St. Pat's able to accelerate the lead they have in gold by knocking down these structures over the next few minutes.
I was going to say that if they don't rotate someone down bot, Gloob is going to take the tower really quickly, and we can see the damage he's done. And I almost think he was hoping to get out of his mega form so they can just range harass and keep pushing this in. But it's a team up top. St. Pat's are taking top tower, continuing the pressure in, and Talia also putting a lot of pressure in the mid tower. And it looks like Dundalk don't really know how to react to this or handle going up an opponent against an opponent who has such an advantage and so strong in each lane.
And Gloob in this 1-versus-1 taking quite a few hits from Voltum next, so if anything, Voltum next is happy to trade into the Gnar 1-versus-1 here. Even that little Thornmail helping him out in terms of the damage he's doing, and Gloob, no way to really stop this Maokai healing right now, but the rest of the team have to watch out, especially in the top lane. However, Costa Corda and Nico picking up the pick here, but Dark Stelion, not the target you want. Sejuani will take quite some time, and they lose their inhib tower, going for the play on the side. They don't actually have the defense here. They lose their tower in the mid lane as well, and Dundalk just seemingly making a few wrong calls when it comes to defending these structures.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to the objectives at the end of the day. They're tunneling in to try and jump on a couple of kills. But at the end of the day, what does it matter if you do get a kill on Dark Stelion when the Cogmod is just focusing on your tower? Now you haven't exposed the inhib. We have Talia Wall coming in to secure the inhibitor right there. And it looks like no one can do anything. A good Sejuani ultimate thrown out to prevent anything from really happening. And Gloob, whilst, you know, taking a bit of damage, and Voltum next is able to grab that tower as well and now push it.
Yeah, he's once again getting that wave to the bottom tower, but opening up an inhib at this point I think is a good enough play from St. Pat's with the Baron. In that case, they got a lot of towers down. They've opened up the base for the next passage of play, and their goal leads over 10k at this point, considering where we saw them start off. Just the ability the time they've had as well to take down these towers. Dundalk have just been a little bit sloppy in how they defended it throughout the game so far, and things looking pretty grim for them. There's still a lot of potential if they can, like we said, pick off that Cogmod that removes a lot of damage, but not really been able to do so far.
It definitely looks like, again, a lack of coordination, which is something that plagued the previous game we were saying against Bray. But the lack of coordination and maybe shot calling is something that they need to review, because there were moments where they were going in on the wrong thing and ignoring the thing that actually mattered, which is the objectives. Because at the end of the day, this is not a game that you win just by kills. You can have the most kills, but if you're not getting those objectives, that's what matters. And St. Pat's going back, playing it safe, grabbing that Ocean Drake, which is going to give them a little bit of sustain. Not loads, but, you know, every little helps. And Voltomex, I don't care how tanky he is.
Yeah,
when three people on you,
they do have enough CC to prevent him from escaping. Ultimate's used by Sejuani and Nar, and I mean, he's sustaining for quite some time, but we'll see. They'll get it. Will they get it? Oh, the stun comes in. Oh, he threw the rocket to the minions.
Wow.
They did get him, though.
That was a very, very long time.
Yeah.
You gotta wonder if it was worth all those ultimates and everything. But if they're able to convert this into the lower inhib, then that's gonna be great. And we can see that Caitlyn Walkerlad has to protect the towers in the top lane from the super minions. So St. Pat's can put a lot of pressure here, and it looks like mid is also going to push in. So it's just a matter of time.
And Baron buff's gone for St. Pat's, so they don't have that added bonus when it comes to these waves. However, no objectives to really go for, so they might as well stick for the siege and inhib down in the top lane. Super minions will be putting in, so now they have pressure over that area, and Dundalk have shown that they've been not the best in terms of splitting how they defend against these waves. So good opportunity for Pats to really get some damage down on this tower here. They're still keeping C-Prom in the mid lane on the Talia. Good call, because the Weaver's Wall can really shape a fight in terms of catching someone out or pushing people away. And right now, Pat's just playing it methodically. It might be tough for them to break the defenses, but you have to think that if they stick with it for long enough, they will get there eventually.
I mean, we saw them doing a 1-3-1 early on, and now, because the super minions are coming in, they react correctly, and then going for the now 1-4 split with Talia, who can so easily come and join them. But she's pushing the lane, making sure it's pushed in, and now we see the ADC from Dundalk having to rotate top again to protect their Nexus towers, and this is the opportunity for the St. Pat's to kind of go in. I wouldn't be surprised if their ultimates are now back up after killing the Maokai. The Maokai's back up, but here's comes the pressure. Weaver's Wall coming down, and
the engage does come in here. Costa Corda, though, in the front line was completely abandoned. The Weaver's Wall splitting the team for Dundalk means that they can just finish off this Zac pretty safely at the back of the fight. Walkerlad, though, hammering away on Witzel. 1-on-0 away, and the tower actually finishes it off, so we just get the return kill onto the St. Pat's support. Nice job there from the Caitlyn to hang in the pocket. And they're doing a good job of keeping St. Pat's at bay. There is no opportunity for them to push this tower down. The traps make it tough for them to really push it. Museum's keeping his distance, and Voltanex taking over an engage from the side. He needs to find the right target and goes in for the Nar, who's about to go Mega Glue. Gets it in time, but can he get the CC down? He's still being hammered away. Nar ultimate is flashed out of, but the C-Prom finds them outside the front of the fight, and now Pats are committing. They take out Walkerlad as well. They have to be careful of the tower aggro, but once again, Pats just a little bit better in terms of how they turn the fight in their favor. Not going to get the tower, but they come away with the advantage on kills.
Pat's just recognizing that all that matters is Museum. Can they protect him? Can they keep him alive? Because he's a monster right now. 6-1-4. Comes out of that fight basically full health, and they're able to push forward, get those kills. I thought that Voltomex was actually doing a really good flank. He saw his ultimate come out earlier. It managed to do, you know, it was pretty good securing down and preventing any further damage coming out of the Pats. But then he comes again without the ultimate and just gets taken down. It doesn't matter how tanky you are. If you have Museums looking at you, you have Wit's End, you have Gwynsu, you have Bork. That's it. You're not going to last that long.
Yes, certainly. There's a lot of defensive tools there for Museums as well. He's got the lifesteal, he has the MR from the Wit's End, the QSS to make sure that he can get out of that CC that comes in, and I think that works well because there's not too much dedicated peel on the side of St. Pat's comp, so this Kog'Maw naturally has a lot of damage, especially with that Gwynsu's Rage Blade, but also has the defenses, which makes him an absolute terror. Even if you can get to him, you really need to burst him down, and the Sins are not doing that. It's tough for Dundalk to execute, and now it looks like they're going to give over another Baron to St. Pat's here. They have their inhib back up in the top lane, but those
another
two
great
towers
call coming out of them to grab that Baron. Like, no hesitation, go over, and Dundalk is just absolutely unaware of it, and it's something they've got to really maybe work on going forward. I mean, when you're looking down at their warding scores, they're pretty good actually across the board on the side of Dundalk, but just not in the right positions. At the same time, I'm not sure they can really contest when you're 13k behind, but here we go, a fight coming.
We do see Costa Corda thinking of going for something there with the stretching strike, but neither team choosing to commit to that too much. Gloob right now in the side lane, getting that bottom wave forward here. St. Pat's keeping all their members in the mid lane. Maybe they want the towers down now while they are low, so they don't have to worry about them later on. But I mean, there's an exposed inhibitor to the top lane to get things rolling, so we'll see if they choose to change up or if they choose to focus on the towers specifically as they get the waves to the towers. I imagine that Dundalk will be under a lot more pressure when Gloob does get that bottom lane wave to the base.
Now more than ever, Dundalk really have to focus on Museum and to delete him, because so much of the damage is focused around there. Talia doing a lot of damage, but if Museums can be taken out of the situation by the Costa with a great ultimate and focusing him, and Miko putting her ultimate down on him, there's a lot down, but that ultimate is down and we can see the pressure. No life basically mid-turret, no life on the bottom turret, so that's probably going to drop next.
And St. Pat's committing to that tower without the wave, and they give up a little bit of health, but they've taken it down, as well as the one in the bottom lane. All three inhibs are up, but they're exposed, so St. Pat's just need to create a little bit of space and they can start generating these super minions. And right now they're looking for that one in the mid lane here. Oh, actually they get the Sejuani ultimate here, looks to burst down Walkerland as well here. The CC comes back in onto Dark Steely on Voltanex, looking for the backline here, but he is alone. Let's Bounce though picks out two, but not the two that they wanted. They get the two tags. Melkai and Caitlyn already dead at this, looking like the final fight here. St. Pat's able to get to Michael as well, and now the members of the dock are just dropping like flies here. They are almost all gone. Blaze, the last member standing, protecting the KDA, but he will watch as his base falls here. And St. Pat's, as soon as we drop back in the stream, they just play a great game around objectives, taking the fight to Dundalk, and they will move to 2-1 here in EStars.
I mean, Gloob and Doxelion there were just completely occupying the damage out of Dundalk. They were just being the wall that they needed to be and allowing Museums to be just untouched. Great performance coming out of St. Pat's, a much stronger performance than I would have expected.
And certainly, and this is a team we've seen able to take the leads early, but what they did differently this time was they ran with it. They managed to just play more methodically past that 20-minute mark, and we saw Dundalk just seemingly had no answer for it. Once again, we go back to how much a sub would have disrupting their communications, because they just seemed a little bit off when it came to making those defenses there, and Pats were very happy to just take all the towers that Dundalk seemed to be giving them.
Yeah, and the Pats, I gotta say, like you said, good in the beginning, lost at the end, but then now such confident calls, great calls on the Baron, and just like taking their advantage and snowballing it to a point where there was nothing that Dundalk could do. And these were two great matches to see two teams that we weren't sure how they had performed in the previous weeks, had gone 1-on-1, they had done decent, but we weren't looking at them as being this on the perhaps the top half of the bracket, but wow. Yeah. Really, really good performance and such an improvement from last week. And now I'm actually wondering whether the teams that we thought were really strong in the first 2 weeks are as strong. And I wonder if the weaker teams actually could end up taking it.
With all of these results, every week there's been a couple that has just kind of changed your perception of who is good, who is bad, and we've had two games there that are likely to alter the perspective on the table here. We now have Dundalk, a team who would have had very high aspirations, 1 and 2, and they have a long climb back now with that negative record as the thing goes on, and maybe things will get easier when they get their substitute back, but losing games like this is so important, and they will need to probably cause a few of these kind of upsets themselves when it comes to games later in the competition.
I think so, and I think the thing is, but that mental aspect is so important when you're looking at these tournaments over a longer time frame, because you've got to be able to come back from these losses. You've got to be able to reset, learn from 1 week to the next, like we've seen Bohemians and the Pats do, and it's been really great. Really, two really good games, and we're just gonna jump over to a little ad and a break, and we'll be back soon.
Video games are the latest craze to sweep the...
Once, gaming was a simple pursuit. Groundbreaking. Yet limiting.
Video fever. The games people play.
And then, it evolved.
This is the next generation of video games, but these...
And so too did the gamer.
Professional, competitive video gaming.
You see, The thing about evolution,
This is what kids are doing. This is what people want to see.
it never ends.
I wanted you to know that I am ready to go. Heartbeat, my heartbeat.
Now, we're here. On the Vegas Strip.
Is it going to connect? It's going to stay close to Jake. Your champion, Ghost Gaming.
Las Vegas Daddy's going to be there.
Big upset.
Anyone can play. Are you ready? Ready?
Hi, I'm Liam from 3 Ireland's EStars,
Hi, I'm Tim from Peak,
and we're here to launch 3 Ireland's EStars merchandise.
designed by Peak.
Cut.
Yeah, you're allowed to come off now, mate. Okay. There you go.
Three Ireland's EStars is an amateur gaming competition in which we will give the opportunity to an amateur gamer to become Ireland's next EStar. We've partnered with the clubs across the League of Ireland, so there already is a rivalry there on a competition. We're dipping into that rivalry and we're taking it to the gaming scene. Peak is a very similar brand to ourselves, what Tim Crew's trying to do and break into the market, and similar to us, we're looking to break into a new market as well. I think there's a great synergy there between ourselves and Peak.
It's a really exciting partnership. It's such a new business. I think it's amazing to give anybody an opportunity to be able to go on a big stage in front of thousands of people, and the final is going to be immense.
Hello and welcome back to 3 Ireland's EStars, where we are here live in Sligo. Before the break we saw St Pat's victory over Dundalk, but before that, oh, Braze, where did it all go wrong? Adam, you had so much chat, so much talk. We have had 2 victories over the past few weeks in Dundalk and Cork, but tonight your run of victories came to an end.
Yeah, it did. It went wrong in the early game, which is our biggest weakness right now. So we're going to try improve that early game for next week and all the weeks after, and we'll win next week.
You've been confident throughout this entire competition though, Adam. Every single week you've taken victory, and rightly so. You deserve to have that, I wouldn't say arrogance, but you know, you've been pretty cocky about the whole thing. Will this knock affect you going into next week?
Absolutely not. Losing is a learning experience, and we're going to learn a lot from this game. And we're going to come back next week and absolutely smash Cork.
Okay, fighting talk once again from Adam. He hasn't been broken in any stretch at all. But this does mean that the tournament has been blown wide open. And I have to say, Bose, what a performance. You must be absolutely delighted.
Oh yeah, obviously we're delighted. I mean, the better team won. I'm just the best support in Ireland. It's that easy.
You did say your team, I was speaking to some of the members before that game, and they were confident. They said there was going to be an annihilation. You said it might have gone your way, but it didn't. I mean, what do you think was the difference for you this week?
I mean, there was an annihilation, but this week, I don't know. Everyone just seemed to be on form. Like, we all clicked, the calls were clear. Me and Ted, that's our lane, Tedsy. That's what we're trademarking, that, me and Ted. Anyway, yeah, everything clicked. We killed them first blood, bot lane, as expected. We're just better. Snowball from that. Clear calls, Limitless, he called everything perfectly, and you just follow up on it. And it's an easy game when everyone's following calls. Just like, I don't know, it's easy.
During the break, we were talking about your possible MVP this week. You're eyeing up that prize.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait. Like, sign me up for that MVP, please. I don't know.
So this is week 3, obviously, in the competition. It's now been blown wide open. Are you eyeing up the prize? Are you eyeing up the playoffs at the final in Dublin?
Oh, man. I can taste 20 grand. Like, it's pretty much in my grasp. Like, I believe 100% in everyone on my team, and people keep saying Bows, like, they don't have it or whatever. Like, on paper, we're not as high ranked. Doesn't matter, like, we're just better.
I think you've shown an awful lot of people what you are made of. Do you have a message for your team tonight, Adam?
Yeah, I think cheer up, learn from our mistakes, and come back next week and absolutely demolish Cork.
Now we've got another big game to happen tonight, possibly two of the favourites in this competition who have had an incredible tournament so far. That is Sligo, the home team obviously tonight, and 3. Who would you hedge your bets on?
Well, 3 beat us in week 1. I have some friends on Sligo. If they come together. If I'm being honest, I think 3 will win, but I hope Sligo win.
And Adam, what about you?
I think Sligo are going to win. They have stronger team. Apart from top lane, where Rengus is going to win against their top laner, but aside from that, everyone else will beat everyone else on 3.
Well, we'll soon find out. Like I say, this competition wide open. I think this could tell us quite an awful lot about the rest of the tournament after tonight. This could be anyone's, but we're going to get more action after the break.
Let's see the big arena area. See what that looks like.
Sounds good. Wait.
Oh my goodness. Dude, this looks so sick.
It's amazing.
That's really nice.
Wow. You gonna walk on the stage?
What is that, a turntable? No, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch it.
This is so sick.
Can't get anything at the bar.
Hello there, buddy.
Oh, shut up.
And welcome back to 3 Ireland's EStars. We are live here in Sligo once again, week 3 of the competition, and it has blown wide open. This still could be anyone's prize. 20,000 euros up for grabs. The next game up tonight, it's a big one. We've got the home crowd here. Sligo up against our friends at 3. 2 of the favourites in the competition so far. 3 were maybe not supposed to be a favourite, but their competition has been going incredibly. Victory in the last 2 weeks from both games for them. A shock result for Sligo last week, however. Defeat to Shamrock Rovers. That's not how this was supposed to happen. So this week they will be looking for revenge. So, are they still the favourites though? That is the question. Well, let's find out. We're getting our final preparations ready just now. Let's go and speak to Kevin, who is the captain of Sligo. I'll make my way over to you. Kevin, how are you feeling? Coming off defeat last week, of course, that was a bit of a shock for everybody. We weren't expecting that. That wasn't written in the stars, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't expected for us either. But, you know, we're only human. We make mistakes. You know, we saw the upset win today for Bows over Bray. It happens to all the top teams, you know. Especially with best of ones, like, you can make mistakes, you can, you know, tilt, and then you're not going to play to the best of your abilities. So, yeah, it was disappointing, but I feel like we've really regrouped. Our morale is up and we're ready to take home a win today.
What lessons have been learned then? Have you discussed last week's, any specific tactics that went wrong for you?
I think we played bot lane way too aggressively. I think I would actually like to say that Rovers played incredibly well. Even with just having a new player in the roster, like, they had no time to form as an actual unit, so they played incredibly well. But yeah, we made mistakes. We played very into their hands. But as I said, that's not to say that they didn't play well. They played extremely well. And we kind of let ourselves down a bit. But we've done plenty of practice this week and we're ready to just clean slate, take home a win, get back in a controlling position on the leaderboard.
Absolutely, and that is the goal, of course, with that eye on the prize. We're thinking ahead already to Dublin, the final. Do you think you have what it takes to make the playoffs, to make the final, down to the final 2, that battle we're all looking forward to?
I think we definitely have it in us to make top 4. I think that should even go without question that we should make top 4. There is a lot of work to be done to take home the prize, and I think that goes for all teams. I feel like the competition right now is actually very exciting because it's so open, you know, and that's not something that you get in a lot of tournaments. So because it is so open, it gives teams a chance to grow, develop, and we're going to have a very interesting competition on our hands, I think.
Absolutely, because before tonight I think there was a feeling that Bray were maybe just going to run away with it, but that was such a shock. Were you watching the game? What did you take from that?
I did, yeah. I think the Bray guys let themselves down a little bit, but I know they're very exceptional players in their own right, so I don't question it for a second that they're going to pick themselves up and come back strong next week. But Bows played incredibly well as well. I mean, Burnsy and Limitless had an insane amount of pressure on the map. I think Ted Blonda also had a very good game, and you know, all of their players did. They've played as a very cohesive unit, which I actually haven't seen out of them yet, so that was very nice to see, and it shows that they're in a good fighting chance. You know, they can't just be rode off like everyone else said they would be. So
and finally, Kevin, 3, what type of a team are they? I mean, what is your thinking going into this final game tonight?
I mean, they're a very top heavy team. I think they're strong in their own ways, but because they have a very set style of playing, they're quite easy to counter at the same time. So they are formidable opponents without a doubt, but suffice to say we should win.
Kevin, good luck. I think this is going to be a good game. Well, let's head over now to our friends at 3. There are final preparations going on here. It is getting extremely tense. We already knew that this was going to be the fight of the night. It's going to be a battle. It could take some time as well, so stay tuned if you're watching. Guys, is anyone ready to chat along here? Let's take over to the captain, shall we? Have you got 2 seconds before game time? Brilliant. So tell me, how are you feeling about this? This is going to be the big one tonight. There's a lot of pressure on 3 as well. I think a few people thought you might have been the underdogs in this competition, and you are proving them wrong.
For this game, it'll be 50-50 really. We know that Sligo is one of the top 3 teams for it, but again, we have a couple of strats. We've been practicing all week. We're pretty confident what we're going to do and what we're going to build into them. So if we come out on top, yeah, it should be smooth sailing to the winning line then.
And you're coming into this with 2 wins already, and I mean, we just watched Brays take a fall there. You don't want to follow in their footsteps, though.
No, we shouldn't fall behind like they do. Again, a lot of teams made mistakes. We're watching their games, we're learning from them. Yeah, we should come out on top every time.
And just how difficult is it to be the final game of the night? Watching all the other teams, watching that, does that give you an advantage, or is that far worse, more pressure?
Yeah, it gives us a lot more insight going forward, so we're learning how teams are playing, what kind of strats they're using, so we're kind of taking that into consideration, what they're using, and then just building on that and how we can actually overcome that going forward.
Now we are into week 3 now. I think the first couple of weeks, you know, you can kind of feel like if we drop a game here and there, it's not too much of a problem, you can pick it up. The competition's getting pretty tense now, isn't it?
Yeah, we can feel the pressure building up, but we're hoping to just stay consistent all the way through. If we're able to do that for the next 3 or 4 games, then we should have a problem going to the finals with this. It should be an easy win for us.
And a win tonight for you would put you right at the top of the leaderboard. That's a lot of pressure.
It's where we're meant to be, though. That's the only thing. Like, 3 is probably going to win this competition, hands down.
Oh, it's fight and talk. This is getting very serious. Some cheers from the rest of Team 3 there. This match is about to get underway in the next few minutes. It is getting very exciting, though. Do stay tuned. Stay with us. We're going to head over to our casters after this.
Hi, I'm Liam from 3 Ireland's EStars.
Hi, I'm Tim from Peak.
And we're here to launch 3 Ireland's EStars merchandise.
Designed by Peak.
Cut.
Hey, you're allowed to come off now, mate. Okay. There you go.
Three Ireland's EStars is an amateur gaming competition in which we will give the opportunity to an amateur gamer to become Ireland's next EStar. We've partnered with the clubs across the League of Ireland, so there already is a rivalry there on a competition. We're dipping into that rivalry and we're taking it to the gaming scene. Peak is a very similar brand to ourselves, what Tim Crew's trying to do and break into the markets, and similar to us, we're looking to break into a new market as well. I think there's a great synergy there between ourselves and Peak.
It's a really exciting partnership. It's such a new business. I think it's amazing to give anybody an opportunity to be able to go on a big stage in front of thousands of people, and the final is going to be immense.
Let's see the big arena area. See what that looks like.
Sounds good. Wait.
Oh my goodness. Dude, this looks so sick.
It's amazing.
It's really nice.
Wow. You gonna walk on the stage?
Yeah. What is that, a turntable? No, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch it.
This is so sick.
Can't get anything at the bar.
Hello there, buddy.
Oh, shut up.
What a great pair of games. I really enjoyed those matches. During the break there, we got to hear from the captains, and, you know, good on them. Won. Bohemians, despite winning, sorry, they've had a bit of fun with it, getting to trash talk back to Bray, who's been so confident. But on the other side, Bray, you know what? Being good sports, recognizing they lost, and also just happily kind of saying, you know what, recognize where our weaknesses are, not letting him stop him, and still as confident. But then got jumping in. We also hear 3 and Sligo feeling good, and Sligo not getting put down, and they're absolutely right. At the end of the day, it is you know, one loss isn't the end of the world, and you can still come back from that.
Certainly, and I think those previous results just up the ante for this game a little bit bigger. 3 take the win. They are out in front on their own. But if Sligo take the win, there is now this huge mash of teams on 2-1 all tied. We are going to go into picks and bans, though, for our final game of the evening. Team 3 against the home team Sligo. And the first few bans coming in here. A design the Jin, a lot of focus towards Devils on the Sligo side, but we do see the Kaisa as well taken away, and the Fiora from Rengus, pretty crucial pick because you have to keep 3's top laner down.
You absolutely do, because we've seen him take over before. First, Kaisa ban and potential pick. She's actually been buffed quite a lot now. Potentially it's still early, so we're not entirely sure, and I think people don't know necessarily how to play her or aren't as comfortable, but clearly a targeted ban. But this is a big match. I'm excited, just like the last ones, because these are 2 very good teams. Despite Sligo having lost last week, like you said, they were just a little bit off kilter, but they're back on the same page and they're looking to win. But if 3 win it, they have secured first place, 3-0, and the only team to do it in the tournament. So important for them. And first picking that Braum.
Yeah, certainly Braum, a very crucial pick for Sligo, and 3 making sure that is denied from them. However, Sligo going to be able to get the Ezreal and the Camille in the top lane. They're picking that one away as opposed to letting Rengus have it here, and I think that puts a lot of responsibility onto Sligo's top laner now. Picking a more carry-oriented champion in this 1 versus 1. He's going to have to be solid at the very least, if not have a big game.
No, definitely will do. And like Ezreal was not a very high pick. It's a very independent pick. Like, and he's able to kind of stay safe, move around by himself. And I think that's what they're looking to do. But Malphite now coming out of the 3, that's going to be really exciting.
This is something that Rengus as well has been picking up recently, and you're not expecting Malphite to be a big carry champion like the Fiora or the Camille that we see, but he somehow just dominates lane on the champion. Like, out of all the champions to win lane on, he just destroys on Malphite, and then you get to team fights and you have that ultimate and you can just wreck people with it. So Sligo will really have to have their wits about them, both in terms of not letting him get ahead and also finding the right response. Going for the Lucian as well on the side of 3. I mean, he's received buffs, but that's still a kind of risky one. I mean,
buffs. I mean, look, the Tristus are up, and
yeah.
I'm really surprised Caitlyn's
still up.
Where's Caitlyn?
You have there's a lot of things you could have gone for.
This is a really 3 is going for an unusual comp, but clearly it's one that they talked about beforehand. I think this is, you know, talking to the players myself before, they said they were very prepared, not underestimating anything, and we heard the captain talk about this as well, and Shen coming out on the other side, so a very safe and good pick.
Yeah, Shen, I mean, that opens up the opportunity for flexes. I mean, you could put that Shen support and keep the Camille in the top lane. If you want to get a bit fancy, Shen top, Camille jungle. I mean, you could.
I was gonna say Camille
turn that
could
around.
jungle.
Yeah, like, and 3 will have to kind of keep all of these options open. A lot of mid lane bans coming out in the second phase, though. Talia and Galio taken away from 3's mid lane. The response looking to be Azir and Corki as well. So these mid laners going to have to dig deep into the champion pools here to find something that fits with their composition.
But with none of the top junglers having been banned, it would be very odd to have Camille in as the jungler. You'd be giving up a power pick, but I mean, both of these drafts are unusual to say the least. You could maybe potentially put the Camille in mid lane, but if they decide to take something range, that could just really be bullied, and it's not exactly when we're talking about the skill set of Camille, mid lane doesn't necessarily give her the mobility to jump off and so on as much as top and other lanes.
They did go for the Morgana,
Wasn't there a support Camille at one point?
There was a support Camille as well. That was, I think, a Jez special in the LCS, but they do go for the Morgana, so I think that sets it up as Shen top, Camille jungle, Morgana support, and this must be something that Sligo are practicing. Dakin in the jungle does like those more carry-focused champions, so maybe he can pop off on that. Does give 3 the Orianna to have to blind pick in the mid lane here, and it's so weird. You get to your last pick, and every priority jungler is open.
Honestly, I kind of don't even know what to say about these pick ban. The Nocturne, I mean, Nocturne is decent, but why would you go... Alright, that's a really unusual one, but that's very interesting. And the Echo, oh my, here we go. Everything is being thrown out here. So... Yeah, it is Camille in the jungle. So Camille in the jungle, like it's okay. It's not my favorite one, but she's so mobile, and if played correctly, her ganks can be so unusual. It's really hard to read. With an Echo in mid, he can lock people down, but again, he's not that strong. But then we have a Lucian on the others. I just this is a bit.
There's just so many picks that you're prepping for the standard meta drafts that you're not expecting coming out here. And we're going to have to kind of go through them as the game goes on and their individual impacts. I mean, talked about the Camille there. I think, what Sligo kind of went for. They saw the Malphite on the other side, and they have a lot of these champions that can kind of function independently. The Echo, the Camille, the Ezreal as well as a nice bit of safety. Like, there is the option to play against that on the side of Sligo, and I think just in terms of, despite the picks maybe not being the most powerful, they do have the options against a big team fight focus that came out of 3.
There's a lot of, like you said, champions with high mobility and able to dart out. They support, was the Braum?
It was Morgana on the side of Sligo. It's the Braum Lucian on the 3 side with the Malphite.
No, I think you swapped them.
No, because I remember they first picked the Braum on the side of 3 because Bluebellberry for Sligo is a big Braum player, and they left that open because it's normally away from them.
Morgana with the Ezreal.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to say.
Kill.
So Morgana's Black Shield, it's a big counter input potentially, and as well as Chains of Corruption. If we're looking at champions jumping in, Malphite dives in, he can get locked down. Black Shield's on his target. Other champions are able to disengage. It's an unusual comp. And both of them, to be both teams, clearly have been practicing something unexpected and taking that into account and going for the comfort plays, or maybe hoping. I think probably both teams were hoping to surprise the other team and ended up surprising each other. But we talked about this. We were saying, you know what? Best of ones, there's real opportunities to create just an upset, go for something comfortable, non-traditional. We actually saw the captain of Sligo saying that during the break. He was talking about how, you know, anything can happen. You can go for something unusual. But both teams going for it, I don't even really know how to predict this.
Yeah, it's just so strange to kind of just formulate how these comps are going to work together. Sligo with champions that are very safe at the very least, and I mean can maybe just nope out a lot of the fights that 3 will be looking for. I mean 3 on the other side, pretty heavy dive. You've got the Nocturne, you've got the Malphite, and I think for 3 it's a case of they kind of almost need to get ahead so that they can go for these dives without really having to worry about anything. They have the Shockwave to follow up as well, so it's just about making sure you get those engages and that there is no escape. And if Sligo are on point, I think that they can actually deny 3 a lot of what they wanted with that draft.
Massively, but I also think 3, you mentioned in there, Orianna, Nocturne and Malphite could be such a deadly combo. Nocturne's ultimate I think has 6 seconds of darkness right now. It's huge. That's such a long time. You suddenly hit that darkness, Orianna ball either on Nocturne or Malphite, and even if it goes on 1, this is the thing, you can only Black Shield one of them. So they can go in, suddenly die to it, go and suddenly follow up with the next one, and that can be really huge. But it's definitely going to be, odd. I think, like we said, both team comps can work, and we saw this in the previous game where we had 2 team comps and one just kind of ran away with it. So I think a lot of it is going to really come down to execution. But I think before we jump into the match, we're going to go to a quick commercial and then an exciting final game of the day.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Yeah, quick little break there. We'll be hopping into game fairly soon, but some really... I guess I want to jump back to the games before, because I think this one, we've had such an unusual pick and ban, and so much of it will hinge on how the play is executed. There's only so much we can say, so we'll have to just see what they can do. But I gotta say, I'm like, this tournament has really blown wide open. I know before we started, we definitely expected some teams to be the top teams and just to kind of run away with it. But what we've actually seen is that we have I mean, basically everyone's sitting at 2-1.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, if Sligo take this, then we've got 2 more teams at 2-1.
Yep.
So, I mean, then it's... I'm trying to calculate how many teams. I think it might be actually 7 that are almost tied to that score. Like, it is absolutely going to be absolutely crazy if it does get to that point.
We've got 2 teams at 0 and 3, 1 team at 1 and 2, and everyone else is at 2 and 1.
That is if Sligo win.
If Sligo win.
If 3 win, they're at top 3-0, and I mean
But then you got to look at Sligo. Like, if they lose, whilst they'll be 1 and 2, they also lost to Shamrock, one of the stronger teams, and 3 who would be in first place. So after that point, there is a potential for them to go on a win streak, but it really depends on whether they are actually as good as we think they are.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big potentially game for Sligo to prove that all the pre-tournament hype, they can live up to it. I mean, they have a roster full of very good individual players, and last week's performance may have been just like a hiccup, or it could be the symptom of a bigger problem within the team, and I think that's something that we'll see this week. I think 3, once again, are opponent that are showing some very strong performances recently, and Sligo have to step up. 1 and 2 is a really tough situation. Even if they can get those wins back, it's a case of almost do or die at that point. Like, you cannot afford to make those more mistakes. There's not enough breathing room left for them.
No, absolutely. You're completely right, and it is those moments where it's a proving time for both teams, and it'll be very exciting to kind of see how they execute on such unusual comps. And to be honest, it's been such an exciting day of games. I've really enjoyed just the level of play, the whole tournament, and what's coming out, the positivity from the players. And at the end of the day, I would say to everyone, guys, we're in Dublin next week. Come see us. Oops, I shouldn't be knocking that. But come see us next week. Hop online, follow us on social media, find out where we are, join our drafts and everything, and go to EStars.pro and buy a ticket to the finals. But I think it's definitely going to be exciting.
Yeah, certainly we've had a crazy first 3 weeks of the tournament so far. Could be set up for another crazy game, and just with the excitement surrounding it, like you said, definitely recommend coming out, especially if you are around the Dublin area for those Dublin faces. They are going to be pretty crazy, and like I said, hoping for one more good game to round this off after the last couple of upsets we have had. It's been a fantastic game. I think I got a good week to fill in for this one. Managed to find the right time to step into this one, but yeah, like I said, this is a huge game to round us off between 2 teams who are potentially favourites for the tournament. Could be in the death when it comes to it at the end.
Yeah, and we said at the start of the day, no one was really looking at Team 3. We've all been talking about the Rovers, we've been talking about Bohemians and so on, and other teams. 3 was kind of never really mentioned as the top ones, but they performed so well, and we're about to jump in right now and see if they can take hold of first place.
Yeah, getting ready to jump into game here. The final game of the day. Team 3 on the blue side facing off against the home team here, Sligo Rovers, on the red side. 3 right now. The only team undefeated left in the tournament after Bray Wanderers fell earlier here, and they will be looking to make sure that is a record that stays standing. Devils did connect with one. Rengus throws out the dabbing penguin, you know, as an acknowledgement of the nice real cue thrown out there. No craziness. We've had no level 1 action today.
No, they were obviously trying to catch someone out, but good positioning out of Sligo ensures that doesn't happen, and they use their possibly one of the more mobile members to kind of be safe. It'd be really interesting. So, I mean, Echo Oriana, it's been a long time since I've seen that. A lot of it came down to kind of skill. Really, like how good is that Echo at pressuring? They can farm. What skills do they use to farm, and so on? But it will be really interesting to see how they pressure. Malphite is another one. Honestly, across the board, I'm not really sure what to expect because I'm not sure how these players are going to be able to execute their team comps. So we can see good pull. Dakin, who great player, played really well in week 1. Not so great in week 2, but you know, it's a team game, so it'll be exciting to see him on Camille, who's definitely one of my favorite champions.
Camille is potentially a big playmaker, not only in the top lane, but sometimes with the jungle, and that's where Dakin is going to take her for this game. We'll see what kind of impact he can have, and you mentioned it before the game. Gank potential from Camille can be pretty good. You find the right hook shot and you're taking a lot of damage, a lot of crowd control, and that stun can be so handy when it comes to turning a gank into a successful one here. And You imagine that would be a key to success here for Sligo, because if they can keep 3 down in the early game and kind of get their more isolated members in a strong position to play around the side lanes, they have the teleport for the Shen and the Echo. They can go 1-3-1, just play it safe and have a strong side lane combo do all the work for them.
On the side of Sligo, really, it's the jungler's dream. Every single lane brings their own CC to be able to lock their opponent down and just open it up so you can jump in and stun. And the great thing about Camille, she unlocks at level 3. She's got all her toolkit there. Obviously, level 6 is just going to be able to secure the kill much more. But on the other side, Nocturne really has to wait until level 6 to be able to be as effective. And he's gated by his ultimate, so you want to use it on cooldown, which is every 2 minutes, I believe. So it's using it, it goes down, use it again, hopefully get a flash again. And I wonder whether Sligo are really just going to be prepared for that, play safe, and just prevent them from doing this. It's
certainly. Malphite versus Shen in the top lane. We might not expect too much action in the early game. Two will likely just duke it out with a few abilities. Rengus did go for the corrupting potions, so his sustain should be in a pretty good spot, and going for the arcane comet as well, so the Malphite poke might be pretty nice here. However, he has to be careful about taking these trades from Kexius too often. Kexius, if he can just control the timing of the trade, that's always nice for Shen. You can get control of that 1 versus 1, and when it gets to the late game, if this Malphite is ahead though, it becomes a real problem, because then the 1v1 becomes a lot more difficult. I think for most champions, if a Malphite can just kill you over and over whenever his ultimate is off cooldown, that is a problem, and Shen will need at least some modicum of control in that side lane. Can't really afford to lose it by giving over too much to Rengus early on.
It's just a question of, like, how well does Kexius know this matchup? Does he know the power spikes of the Malphite? Does he know how to play against it and so on? Because that sort of thing, if you're caught unaware, you can suddenly be solo killed or be locked up for that Nocturne, and then suddenly you're a little bit behind, which is exactly not where Shen wants to be. And we're looking in the bottom lane, it's fairly even as well as the mid lane, so nothing too exciting across the boards. Junglers are just farming at the moment, no action. We saw Orianna go back, and she's walking back to lane after Echo TP'd in.
The Dragon ship will have a little bit of an opportunity to push that lane, I should say, and that gives them a bit of priority now, so you can see maybe creeping towards that top side, but good idea from 3 to know what's coming over. The taunt connects here, and Rengus is realizing that he is getting collapsed on here. He will need to time his flash excellently to get away. Dragon Ship is joining as well here. They're looking for the Malphite. Go to the tower, missing the hook shot, but it does not matter. First blood to Dakin's Camille, and there is the early gank pressure paying off for Sligo Rovers.
I mean, missed skill shots, but it didn't matter because they had the damage, and Kexius was just doing that constant harassment against Rengus. Rengus didn't read it correctly and gets taken out, and unfortunately if he's going to fall behind, that's another thing. You know, we were saying if he gets ahead it's great, but falling behind, you don't want to be that champion that has to dive in when he's weaker, because he's just going to get deleted. So now we have a Camille that is ahead with 1 kill. It's farming as much as the Nocturne, a little bit behind now because Nocturne has managed to farm a little bit more, and assists on the top lane and the mid lane of Sligo.
Yeah, certainly the early goal slightly now in favour of Sligo Rovers there, and I think that will do them quite a bit of confidence knowing that they're shutting down the key player on the side of Team 3 here. The rest of the map has been relatively quiet. We do see it's mostly just a farm fest between these two, but now Dakin using his advantage to try getting the enemy jungle and to cause some issues there. Try to disrupt Slippy's farming the Raptors there, but I think nice response from Yo in that mid lane. Just jumps back to make sure that his jungler is okay here. I'm liking the aggression coming out here from Dakin, but may need to turn it into a little bit more. That first kill was good, but I think Sligo need to just keep the ball rolling after that.
No, absolutely. It's a good start to the game for Sligo. I think he needs to go back to farming a little bit because now Nocturne is a level ahead and about 10 CS ahead, but creep score can be funny in the jungle. Nonetheless, across the board, mid lane managed to get to 6. Now Kexius has gotten to level 6, which is going to be a big boost and quite a nice counter, or soft counter should we say, to the Nocturne, who might be able to dive in on someone. But if Kexius is able to get his ultimate off, then it kind of gives that protection against the damage. So it's going to be tougher for now for 3 to be able to execute on the vision. But level 6 just coming in on the Nocturne, so I'm sure we'll be watching him kind of dart around. And the flash is down for Dragon Ship in mid lane, so I would probably be looking to that.
And farming is done. Time to play for Slippy now that he has the Paranoia available. It's just a case of where he is choosing to use it here. And right now, Sligo Rovers will be wary of the chance of this Nocturne now having more of an impact in those lanes. When we talk about the lane safety, Dragon Ship doesn't have his flash, but the Chrono Break is available for him, so the Echo does have that path to escape. And then both side laners have all flashes up, so might be tough for him to pull off something the first time around unless there is a really coordinated engage. We saw a coordinated engage from Sligo on that first gank, so if 3 can match him, that is certainly their way to get kills on the board for themselves.
Yeah, it was a very nice engage, kind of like a good read of the overextension on the side of Rengus, who is meant to be a very good player, and is, not saying that he isn't, but they understood what they needed to do, and Dragon Ship made a really good roam up top, actually, something that we didn't talk about. But we see, again, still no action. Nocturne just doing it. Mountain Drake spawned down below, so that's going to be something that both teams are going to be watching and wanting to grab.
And certainly the Mountain Drake will be nice to pick up, just as it always is when it comes to burning those objectives a little bit quicker. It could be good. I don't think either of these teams are too crazy in terms of pressuring towers, but it's always nice, you know, when you just kind of need to hang in, especially the Lucian. If you have a little bit of extra damage here, it makes it a little less risky with that short auto attack range to be really gunning for that tower. I think a big thing though for Sligo now is, now that Nocturne is level 6, making sure that you have control of the deep vision, so you know what side of the map Nocturne is on and you can play accordingly.
And that's so important. You want to get it in those back brushes, really behind the buffs, so that you can see where he is at every time and you know roughly what is the action.
Dragon Ship with a lot of damage here, forcing the flash out of Yo in the mid lane, and the Echo pick potentially unorthodox. He's down on farm, but the Orianna has to watch out. Flash used there, and Dakin may be looking at that lane for a repeat gank sometime soon.
It would make sense, and that's exactly what you want to do. But interestingly, despite First Blood going over to Sligo, 3 have now pulled ahead just via farm.
Yeah, there are advantages in every lane actually, to varying degrees. I think the biggest one is actually Yo in this mid lane on the Orianna. The range versus the melee seemingly working out well in that 1 versus 1. Dragon Ship hasn't been able to turn it into a kill. So 3, like you said, despite giving over that first kill, just doing well enough in the lanes individually to match up against Sligo. And that's a worry, because Sligo's roster on paper is one that we point out as one that can make a lot of things happen just in terms of individual advantage here, but 3 taking it to them in that regard.
It looked like they might have been looking to rotate up top. We had Nocturne and Orianna starting to move up the river, but they end up just taking Scuttler Crab and pulling back. But the Rift Herald is up at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if they look to take that. They've got great ward coverage in the river on the top side of the map on 4-3, whereas Sligo, it seems to be much more focused around the mid and bot lane.
Yes, certainly they want to make sure that Devils and Dragon Ship are both doing a-okay, and I mean, once you kind of know that he's not on one side of the map, you can make an educated guess that he is over that top side. So Sligo probably banking on that for the moment, doing the best that they can to keep as much control on that as possible. The Nocturne has been very quiet, even hitting that level 6. I'm excited to see where he goes for that first one, because that's always big when you have the darkness come down, and Slippy will be jumping onto an unsuspecting member of Sligo Rovers. And
I know, I am quite surprised that we haven't seen anything come out of it yet, but Sligo have been playing quite safe and in good position, so preventing anything, and a little bit of action we've seen around the middle could have really been countered by Shen suddenly jumping in, which would have made it a 3v2. So good play out of 3, not overextending, and just trusting in their core mechanics to kind of get ahead, which is taking them now 200 gold ahead, which very small, but the fact that they lost First Blood and they managed to make it up does say something.
It's only been the 1 kill, and like you said, the individual advantages for 3, making that negligible and actually giving them a slight lead just in terms of those stats. It is minuscule though, and I mean, Sligo, if they can pull off more of those ganks, they will continue to be in a good spot here. Sligo just currently getting a little bit of vision around that bottom side. Blueberry doing his due diligence with the warding, as supports have to do. making sure that there's no opportunity for the Nocturne to get close. He's creeping up the lane though, so maybe a lane gank coming in for him there, and Sligo have no way to see it coming. So Devils and Blue Bullberry, will see how far back they play, because they step too far forward and they could be in a lot of trouble very soon. Definitely
could, and we look like he's taking Krugs and he's moving in to the lane there, so there is a chance if they overextend, and especially if they're able to proc the shield on Devils, then they can go for the Morgana, and that would be how it goes. She does have the Chains of Corruption, but I don't know. It's a very tense game, much slower pace than the games that we had before. We see that Nocturne has actually just pulled back, and neither team is really making any mistakes or overextending. Up, we have had a pause. Unfortunately, the internet is not being as cooperative as we would want it to be. So, just jumping back to our beautiful faces in the meantime. So far, I expected to be way more action.
Oh, 100%. You see all these just crazy picks coming in, things that we were like didn't expect from either of these teams, and I was thinking, all right, we're going to have crazy action, level 6, team 3 going to pull the trigger, we're going to see all these crazy 1v1 fights and ganks from the Camille. But I mean, it's mostly just been farming. We saw one gank top lane.
Yeah, a couple bit of action from Camille, some good action, but nothing, and not able to do the repeat ganks that I would have expected, especially on the Orianna after that first gank got her flash.
Yeah, definitely. Just not really finding the right timing. I think both these teams just certainly respecting their opponents quite a bit, but in terms of just how exciting a game is, kind of let it be. I think it's actually working in favor of Sligo, because they kind of want to avoid a lot of the engages coming out from 3, but at the same time, not really being able to find this. Oh, the teleport actually coming down, and 3 immediately pulling the trigger. Culling used on Blue Bullberry. The teleport in response here. A nice flash, but Blue Bullberry still being focused down. Rengus gets the kill. Teleport finished by Kexius. Misses the flash taunt though, and now he's in trouble. Paranoia onto Devils at the back, and he needs to use the summoners to get out of there, but that just means Kexius is isolated, and straight out of the pause, 3 answering us with a hectic fight. The mid lane though, it was actually Dakin ganking for Dragonship, and they do take the Orianna out without the flash. But 3 have priority on bot lane. They can look for this tower.
I mean, that's exactly what we need to see out of 3. When someone gets an opportunity, they need to pull the trigger. No hesitation from Lucian in the bot lane, diving straight in once the TP came from Rengus. And then we have the darkness to make sure that they secure the kill on the Shens, who unfortunately misses flash taunt. But great reactions coming out of Dakin, knowing he's not able to get into the bot lane to stop that, not able to contest. So he goes straight for the Orianna in the mid lane, gets that kill, and is able to get his mid laner kill for himself.
Devils does not know what awaits him in the bush. He has the arcane shift, but he used both of his summoners here. He has to pick when to use his E. Goes over the wall, and Blue Bullberry was there clearing the ward. Also had a couple of members close by, so he knows that he can stay forward here. Actually, Shenlong's coming down here. They want to turn this into a fight. Exhaust down onto Cramp. Kexius does get the top this time around, looking for one more auto to finish him off, and it is Blue Bullberry who gets the kill. Tries to get Sock Monster under tower, but the Aftershock will give him a few extra stats. Sligo just backing away after the kill, not wanting to risk it too much.
I definitely thought that Devils or Dakin were going to go down to turret aggro, but they actually managed it really nicely. Took a little bit, but not too much, and a good 4-man gank down bot.
Yeah, certainly does give them a bit of pressure there, but they can't take the tower, going for the Drake instead. However, it looks like they will be losing first tower in that top lane. Rengus just free to hammer away at it, and more gold in the pockets of this Malphite. He's got 2 kills now, and that individual first tower goal is being spread out a little bit more on the side of Sligo. So once again, 3's top laner set up for a big game, and I think it's about how Sligo deal with that.
Such an even game so far. Sligo getting ahead, and now actually 3 with that first turret blood and the farming that they've been able to do. They're now about a 1.5k ahead. Not a huge lead, but keeping us so close, and neither team is really showing any hesitation. Just diving in and pulling the trigger once they see that opportunity.
Yes, certainly. It was a tentative first 12 minutes or so, but then we got a break. The teams realized, hang on, we need to fight, and then immediately went for it, and we have had the action burst out over the last while. Rengus has that top tower down. Kexius still trying to take it to this Malphite here. Has a little bit of MR now, and
popping the dab as a taunt.
And Rengus, the Rengus classic. He's not too concerned with the Shen trying to trade at him in that 1v1. The Malphite is a nice lead. Dakin actually, that lagged out a little bit, but he does manage to connect with the hookshot here. Looking for Sockmonster in the pit. Does flash over though and manages to make it out of that one, so he will be fine. Flash over by the Braum, but not much more.
Yeah, not really enough damage to be able to kill the Braum in that shorter time, and he was able to just flash out, but we could see that Cramp was coming over closely to just be able to enable the hop. So it was a flash on the hop, and he managed to get away.
Does get out
damage and trading here, but we see the Camille sitting in the mid.
Oh, Blueberry just eats the culling almost all off screen here. He goes down, and now Sockmonster and Crab looking to finish this one off. However, the Winter's Bite hits a minion, so he's not able to get it. We do see actually the teleport was coming down to that bottle. Well, not the teleport, he was looking for the recall instead. But Kexius has cancelled that. Could keep going, but he's choosing not to. I'm not sure if he can catch that Malphite, and Rengus now will get his back off there, but big mistake there from Sligo's bot lane, just giving over that kill.
I think it's, especially if you haven't played it against Lucian in a while, his burst damage can be very unexpected. And after, you know, 2 assists, getting that Essence Reaver, but action in the mid lane.
Dragon Ship looking to trade that one.
But, yeah, Rengus should have been caught out in the shop. Definitely was shopping there.
Yeah, you always get a little bit greedy, you know. You're just eyeing up that. He was eyeing up that catalyst, you know, a bit of extra sustain, and then Kexius making sure that he has to delay that recall a little bit longer. But I mean, still a big advantage for this Malphite, and the rest of 3 now beginning to really move ahead in gold. We're seeing that the 2v2 lane is working out for them. Devils and Blueberry themselves caught napping, and they have to watch themselves in that. They cannot underestimate the damage coming out of this Lucian, like you said.
Not at all. And, you know, when we talked to Rengus earlier, he was saying that it's completely a team effort, and he actually highlighted Cramp as someone who really helped the team take those wins earlier. And we can see it because he's seeing these small openings where he's able to lock down and get 1 or 2 kills or enable kills for the rest of his team.
Oh, Paranoia coming down in the bot lane. Devils does have his summoners back and is able to get away. Sockmonster hoping for the re-engage here, but one more auto will land the stun onto him. The Ezreal damage comes on through, and they take out Slippy now. Kexi is having to tank up the culling and jump straight towards him, but in comes Rengus straight onto the Ezreal. Devils does manage to get enough distance on him, and now Dragon Ship looking for the side. So many low members in the back, but a nice shockwave will pull the Echo away, trying to get to the back, and does have the parallel conversions. One more auto in the Braum is enough to finish off Sockmonster, and he gets away with the chrono break, trying to finish off Yo as well, but Rengus just goes straight back, takes out the Ezreal. They do drop the Lucian here, but they've ignored the Malphite the whole time. Dakin finally joins the fight here, and this is so crazy, so split. Dakin though will be going down, has the Hextech ultimatum, hookshot as well to move out of it. Rengus has to get to him, but he cannot. Seismic Shard only going to go for the Morgana. Absolutely crazy fight, results in a 3-for-3.
I mean, absolutely insane fight, like you said, like all over the place. Champions coming in a little bit later and just kills back and forth. I saw Dakin dive, was convinced that he was going to get the double. Then he takes a few too many tower shots. Looks like he's going to... Rengus might be overstaying.
Dakin's thinking about it. He has those pots on, and he sees Yo's low at the back. Slippy does not have the paranoia to close the distance here, but you can see that 3 not taking the risk there. They will back off after that fight and leave it alone. They still have the lead. They don't want to throw it away over something stupid. So they're just going to leave that one alone for now. It's a hectic fight. I mean, I was so split, like you said, with just all the different people joining at different times, and Sligo just not able to stick to the targets at the back to finish them off, and I think that allowed 3 to equalize it in the end.
Really good position coming out of Cramp as well, because he, despite the Echo trying to pressure him, he was able to kite backwards and do a lot of damage, and you can't really stop the Camille, who has such a huge amount of mobility. But then again, she was able, I think Sockmonster was able to stop her, take too many tower hits, and then were able to do it. And Rengus, like, just really on both sides, Dakin coming back, Dragon Ship with the correct target prioritization, Devils being able to take out Slippy, just all over the place, but good play from everyone.
Yeah, certainly it was closely fought, and illustrates the tightness of this game right now, how close it is between these 2 teams. Even though 3 have that 3k gold lead, they can't afford to charge headlong into fights, because Sligo will punish them if they can just create enough distance here. Dragon Ship still looking for the 1v1s in the mid lane. He's on 3 kills now, so the Echo is something they might have to worry about, especially when it does get to more of that split push scenario.
And he's actually in a really good spot, as you said. 3 kills, Proto Belt finish, Sheen finish, and this is a nice power spike for him. I'm definitely interested to see how he's able to exert that pressure. But such a good game from both teams, and this is definitely the Sligo we expected to see last week. Unfortunately, it didn't show up. They said it was a bit of a hiccup, but this time, really good.
Really good, but is it enough to take down Team 3? They do have that lead and seem to be happy to take the fights with it.
They do, and they're doing really well across the board. They have the lead thanks to the farming and the tower and top lane. And looking at the towers and bottom mid, they're actually pretty weak as well. So if 3 is able to take those 2 out just through good, solid foundational play, they could then lead to a substantial lead.
I'm not sure how much Sligo know, but they are getting collapsed on pretty heavily here, and we might see 3 look to try for the fight. In any case, they're looking to force them away from this tower here, but the case is, do Sligo want to try to defend this? Will Sligo just let this go down and have Kexius try trade back in the top lane? They have to make the call here, and 3 with so much pressure on this bot side of the map, not having the teleport available, but they're happy to just camp Rengus out in the mid lane with the rest of the team to generate this pressure onto the tower.
I think you give it up. It's so weak, but then if you get that opportunity, especially with Shen, and they're going for it.
Actually, Rengus does look for the engage here, looking to get the quick damage down, and they blow up the Morgana. Chrono Break has to be used to get the Echo out the back of the fight here, trying to get crap at the end, but once again, the Lucian just escapes and turns back around with the culling, and now 3 are just cleaning house. They took down Dakin as well here, and it's just the carries on the side of Sligo trying to make their escape. They do get away, but they got nothing in that fight. They lose the tower, they lose the kill. They will lose the Drake. Absolute disaster for Sligo.
I mean, 3 knew exactly what was happening. They knew Sligo was waiting, and they actually used the baited tower against them to bait them in. Rengus, no hesitation, and great positioning, and Flash out of Cramp, who is down to a sliver. Flashes out, though, into safety, shoots out the culling, and is able to secure a couple of kills. And now he's sitting on 225, 202 farm. And what a great position for 3.
Exactly the fight that they wanted there. We talked about how it was balanced on a knife edge, how the fights could go either way, but in that case, 3 get exactly the engage they want and manage to keep themselves just safe enough to turn it precisely in their favor. And this is exactly what Sligo did not want. When 3 can just force these engages time and time again, with the point their comp is at, they are now at a stage where they win these fights with almost no contest from Sligo. Sligo need to avoid these engages, but it's just proving to be so tough. Summoner spells coming back up for them. They were missing them, I believe, for that fight, but even so, they just have to be so careful about picking where they stand, just watching their positioning and making sure these engages don't come through.
But that's so hard because they were in position to catch 3, but Rengus, no hesitation. The second they stepped out of that brush, he dives on them, and it's just the Orianna delivery system. That's it. The Orianna ball on him. He knocks them up straight into the ultimate, and there's nothing you can really do unless you flash out of the Rengus Malphite ultimate. And we just saw 2 people caught in, Morgana instantly deleted, and great damage and positioning coming out of Cramp.
This Dragon Ship thinking he could, go for a fight against this Malphite, but Rengus is chunking him out here. Chrono Break available for Dragon Ship, so maybe he can dodge out of that Malphite ornament, or ultimate I should say, but cannot defend this tower. He is not strong enough to go against Rengus. Do they send the Shen back there? Do they try collapse on him? Sligo now on the defensive.
But this isn't a not fed Echo. I mean, he's 3-1-1, sitting on 2 items. Like, he's in a really strong position. Look at that damage coming out of the Lucian. Oh my god, just taking off like 3/4 of Blue Bulberry's health. Instantly, now
Rengus using the unstoppable force, and he almost bursts out Dakin completely. Actually flashing away from this one. He does not want to continue this fight here. Dakin, though, has to be careful about where he stands. Kexi is leading the charge here, and actually only really hopping down to protect his jungler. Malphite ultimate is not up. They got the flash as well, but the pressure now really beginning to bear on Sligo as they lose a tower in mid.
Rengus is just playing this tank like a DPS champion. Like he's, like you said in the pre-game, you've seen him play it a little bit, and he just takes over. When do you see a Malphite flash aggressively to kill a jungle Camille? Like, it's huge. He's taking over, and the Shen had to come in, and they still disengaged. They didn't believe that 2v1 they could take Rengus on. And if that's the mentality you have 25 minutes into the game, that's not great.
It's a long road back here for Sligo. The goal lead is over 6k now. in favor of Team 3, who are executing this team fight composition exactly as the Doctor ordered here. There's still a lot of towers for them to take now, but when you have that team fight potential, those neutral objectives become very scary because the other team has to come into you and try force you off that. And if it comes down to these 5v5s, we're really beginning to see Sligo almost don't stand a chance.
And after losing their outer turrets, it's suddenly, like we say, it's often, it opens up the jungle, it opens that half of the map, and that's exactly what you don't want when you're facing a Nocturne, who can just suddenly appear, you can't see anything, and you're suddenly isolated. So this is really forcing Sligo to group up when it's not what they want to do. You can see 3 clearing out the wards. But this is, you know what, earlier we were talking, we're saying MVP of team. Oh, an action in the middle. No, just a bit of damage, but you know.
Oh, Dakin might have Slippy here. Hexacle evade him. Actually hits the spell shield, but kick to the head from Dakin's Precision Protocol is enough to take that one. Nice pick there from Sligo. They have the Nocturne off the map and can just buy themselves a little bit of breathing room.
Great damage coming out Camille, and like this is one of the things that that a lot of people struggle with the Nocturne, is that you kind of need to build the damage because you need the damage when you dive in and actually delete someone. But if you're building pure damage, you are actually very squishy. But yeah, a lot of damage.
Actually, Dakin goes under the tower here, looking for Sockbuster, forcing the heal out of Devils, goes in to finish that one off. Sligo now beginning to get rolling here and picking off these members of 3. This is what their comp wants to do, and they're finally finding a way to do it.
And a lot of this is off the back of Dakin. Like, if you're going to pick that Camille, you want to be aggressive, and if you're behind, you want these picks. You don't want to play afraid, and it's really good to see them do that, especially when they ran away from Rengus in the bot lane. But, you know, both of these teams.
Dragonship using the ultimate there, a bit of a misplay for him. You need that to escape, and he used it, he missed it, and just got pulled in by the Orianna and Nocturne ultimate, and all that momentum that Sligo might have been building, they lose it now with their Echo off the map.
They are 5k behind now. So lead definitely 3 building up on that lead, and they're not really giving him the opportunity. And Rengus
no, he wants to fight instead, looking to burst down Devils, but the exhaust comes through onto him. Hopping back to Baron there. Looks like he's going to be fine. The Shen actually going to be teleporting into that one, so maybe they want to keep the fight going, but another team willing to commit too much to the engage. Rengus does get chunked down a little bit. 3 though still have a little bit of time, however I'm not sure they want to commit to this Baron. Dragonship spawning in 10 seconds would have the teleport up, so 3 once again just playing it safe, not looking to go for the really risky play that they could try out.
Yeah, and why would they? When they're already 5k ahead, they're doing really well, and despite Sligo's best efforts, they're able to maintain this lead, so there's no point making a risky call and potentially losing it all. But yeah, and as I was saying earlier, going back to that, you know, we were talking about best team of the week and MVP, and 3 are definitely coming guns blazing, trying to compete for back-to-back titles.
Potentially 3 have been watertight in their defense for the most part so far, apart from a few mistakes made against the Sligo team, but offensively is where they have very much excelled so far this game. However, might be giving over a Mountains rake here to Sligo, who seem to have beaten to the punch here. Rengus may be looking for a cheeky engage, see if he can burst down one of the squishier members on the side of Sligo. Devil's actually going to show here, has to watch out for the unstoppable force. Rengus goes on in, Black Shield comes down, but he might be able to turn on to Dakin instead. His Malphite is so tanky as well, Paranoia as well coming into the fight. Going to be looking for the Camille at the back, but not able to get it. Slippy knocked out of it here. Once again, this is splitting. This might not be what Sligo wants, but 3 regrouping, recollapsing, looking for Dragonship, has to use the Chrono Break, but ends up back in the face of all 5 members of 3, and he will go down. 3 get the 1 kill off the back of that. Is that enough for them to turn towards this Baron?
I mean, Rengus is so huge. He was going 1v2 against damage dealers and basically took no damage, and they're looking to continue on this.
Yeah, they're keeping the push going here, looking for the mid tower instead. Dakin is low, so he has to back off. However, the ranged wave clear from Blue Booming Derrils is safe at the very least, and they know Rengus does not have the ultimate up just yet, but he is getting that back very soon. Sligo needs to be aware of the timers here and aware of the engage that may be coming through.
He's just doing so much damage and taking so little damage that he's become a monster to deal with, and just I'm not sure that Sligo has the answer. And Cramp is just positioning so beautifully and reading the map and the other team so well that he's dealing a huge amount of damage that I don't think anyone expected, including us.
Certainly, the carries on the side of 3 are coming online. I say carries, I mean the Malphite. He's just pumping out way more damage than he probably should be. With the pick coming in.
But so is Lucian. I mean, I'm starting to... Was he nerfed? Is he not a top pick? Because I'm seeing him getting solo kills in lane, destroying people, running into the mid laner.
Certainly, Cramp is, like you said, they're really providing the damage right now. However, 3 might have to reset here. That wave pushing into the bottom side is something they'll have to keep an eye on. Sligo able to keep enough of a foothold in the map. Not really falling behind in terms of gold. They're stabilizing just a little bit more now. And they will be sending the Malphite to that bottom lane with the teleport here. So Sligo have a bit of an opportunity to maybe get this to the tower and just try open the map up a little bit more. All 3 towers there now. Dakin will pick up the engage, but he misses it. He has to find a way out of here. Flashing out of that one. Sligo, if you're going to go aggressive, you have to execute in that scenario.
In his defense, I've done it as well, that when you jump off of the tower, you're jumping off the front part as opposed to the back part. So had it been the back part like he probably expected, he would have been able to hit that engage. But yeah, at least they're managing to return 3 to 4 on the towers. Sligo is definitely not out, and they're able to take the objectives and keeping their eyes on the prize.
And certainly Sligo, despite it looking pretty bad for them when they were losing all of these fights, they've managed to regroup quite nicely here. Have a good defensive setup at the very least. A lot of vision for them, so if 3 try to create fights by rotating around the map, Sligo should be able to catch them out and just step away from it if they need to in these cases.
But now as the map has opened up and the gold and the items are coming through, this is really now going to come down to the decision making and the end game play of both of these teams. Who is able to make the better calls, who's able to take the small advantages and snowball them into larger advantages, and that's going to come down to things like wave management, mid priority, and wards. As we can see, the battle for wards, especially around Baron.
Right now it is 3 with that advantage. We'll see if they can snowball it, because for the last while they have stalled out just a little bit here. I want to see how this 1v1 develops between the 2 top laners now, because this could be crucial. Actually, Dakin, though, once again picking up an engage, but Cramp, a lot of safety with the Lucian when he can use that relentless pursuit to get away before the Camille can get anywhere close at all. And Kexy's being forced back to this tower now. Rengus, once again, just control of the lane here. This Shen is struggling so much, having to deal with the 3 top laner 1 versus 1.
Problem is, like, who do you send against him? We saw him earlier, he destroyed Dragon Ship. Dakin can't hold up against him, so it has to be Kexius, who is not taking too much damage, but enough there that it's really becoming deadly. And we can see Rengus trying to come in for the unseen flank, but a good ward is able to spot him, so he rotates back down to keep that wave pushed in and not allow Kexius to push it out and give Sligo that breathing room that they so desperately want and need.
Yeah, and Kexius being forced to itemize so defensive. Sock Monster Flash there. Alright, he may have been caught out, but just very early flash means that he will be okay. Kexius has very little lane pushing power with the build he's had to go for so far. Hasn't been able to finish a Sunfire, hasn't gone for the Titanic Hydra here, and Rengus thinks he might have another fight, but the collapse is coming in. However, they have to be careful here. They're going for Rengus now, and Rengus has to pick how to play this. 3 looking to join the fight instead of maybe pulling the trigger on another objective here, and Rengus is still going, will force the Shen away. So Kexius is still standing here, but Sligo not able to get to him, not willing to commit too much to him, because if Rengus bursts him down and 3 get to that fight, that could spell disaster for Sligo Rovers.
It absolutely could, and the problem is here is that Rengus is actually so strong that even with those 2 members on them, it would take too long to kill him, and the 3 are able to jump in. But this is where this is an advantage of diminishing returns. The longer this goes on, the more chances they're going to have on the side of Sligo to build the items and the strength that they need to be able to deal with this advantage that 3 has.
And certainly they are slowly but surely getting those extra stats as the game develops here, and managing to keep themselves in. And Next Strike is spawning in just a few seconds, and I think they should be going up to 3 no matter what if they do choose to prioritize it, just given the current control that they have over the bottom side of the map here. But they have to watch out. They have struggled to make plays now against Sligo in the last 10-15 minutes or so. Sligo just playing a lot better around the potential engage, respecting it more and dealing with it effectively. But the time comes when you have to start making the big plays yourselves, and likewise 3 not really giving them the picks that Sligo were finding at one point in this game.
No, absolutely. Both teams playing really well. Sligo, despite being behind, have not actually given 3 any opportunity to grow that past the 5k. Really good play from them. But this is, as we said earlier, it's so important for the teams now to play to the end game win conditions and how they're going to do that. And we have the Elder Drake up. Sligo with the double mountain could burst it down, and likewise they could burst down the Baron pretty quickly as well. Especially with the champions that they've chosen. I know Camille and Echo can do a lot of damage to Baron.
Certainly, but in order to do that, they will need to just generate enough pressure in that area to really make it work for them here. Rengus is getting close to full build at this point. Just the individual advantage he has right now is still so tough to deal with. The pen is being built. Devils does have that Lord Dominix to try combat Rengus' tankiness, but even so, he's still a long way away. And the Baron call has been made here by 3, and it's being taken down so quickly here. I don't think that Sligo can really get even near this, because they risked the team fight going against your Dragon Ship. Gonna go with the pit, look for the engage. It is secured by Rengus of all people, and then Dragon Ship needs to find a way in. They're ulting him, they're trying to protect their front line here, but Rengus just turns on him. So they've been taken out on the side of the fight here. Shockwave only hits the support at the back here. The kills now beginning to come in for this Ezreal, but is being equalized by Cramp on the other side as the 80 carries battle it out. Devils needs to get distance here, but they are chasing down this Ezreal. Can Rengus get close enough? Sign say no. Devils gets away. 3 trying to clean up the kills after they secure the Elder Drake for themselves, and Cramp will be trying to finish off Kexius here. Dashes forward. Kexius does not have the Shadow Dash, and Cramp is unstoppable. It was a close fight after the Drake was secured, but that might have tipped it in the favor of 3, who walk away with the win.
I mean, 3 already had such an advantage when putting down so much damage on the side of Cramp and Rengus. Now with an Elder Dragon, this is going to be on another level, and I don't think Sligo really have anything to contest this Baron call. But it was not a very clean fight. You know, Orianna ultimate only hit Morgana. They had a very split fight, but despite it all, only one person went down on the side of 3, and we now see 3 secure the Baron, and this is gonna. I wonder if they're just gonna group and go down
fight
mid
as well here onto Devils, but protection is there for him, and his team is not backing Rengus up. So Baron now over to Thing, and the Elder Drake. It's a good buff to have, but it's short, and that fight took up a lot of it. But now they turned it into the Baron a lot longer and a lot more opportunity to turn it into more gold for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a short buff, but it came in when they needed it, which was when that fight. And despite it being messy, they came out ahead, and a big part of that is going to come down to the Dragon buff. But now with the Baron, they're going to be pushing all the lanes. And if Sligo couldn't deal with Rengus before, I don't know how they're going to be able to deal with him now.
Things could be getting pretty rough for Sligo over the next few minutes. They've shown they've been able to defend against a lot of the pressure 3 tries to generate through pushing the waves, but against that Baron buff, it's going to be a lot more difficult. And you have to question the wave clear coming out of their comp. Devils didn't go for that Iceborne Gauntlet, so his damage is pretty much all single target. The Echo is melee, the Shen is melee, the Camille is pretty much melee as well. The sweep's not going to be doing too much. So I think when the minions are just automatically pushing, Sligo are going to really struggle here.
No, they absolutely are. I mean, the Time Winder, I think, is the bit closest that they have with on the Echo. Like you said, with the sweep, it's not going to be much. And when you have such a large wave and a double cannon, that's it. That tower gone. And now they're going to go for the bottom one. And the problem is they don't really have the range attacks to deal with the double cannon minions, and that is what is going to be doing the damage here. Already tower,
yeah, that is
about to be deleted, gone. Now we're going to be moving forward, and we're sitting. You can see Dakin sitting on the side, the Echo sitting around for the flank.
It needs to dive the backline, but 3 just grouping up as 5. You want to fight one of them, you have to fight them all, and it makes it a lot tougher for these divers on the side of Sligo to really go for that backline. 3 just cleanly take the inhibitor, walk away. They know they don't need to overextend for a fight with Sligo, so Split right now happy to just use the Baron buff to do the work for them.
I mean, the thing is here, what you would want is Dragon Ship to either dive in or Dakin able to go in from the flank, little bit of chaos and jump in. But 3's comp actually counters that so well, because if they're caught out a little bit out of position, Rengus can just dive on them and they can instantly just lead that individual, and then it's suddenly a 5v4 when they're ready on the back foot. But we're looking
Dragon
Should do that.
Parallel conversion. Dax does as well. They're looking to burst down Crap, but they just cannot finish him off. He is finally shut down with a lot of damage coming in. Nice chrono break again, returns it, but the shockwave does manage to finish off Devils as well. So the consistent damage missing for Sligo here, and that could be the death knell here for them. Kexi is trying to finish off kills in the backline, but a double kill for Slippy's Nocturne here. Yo, solo on the side of the fight, and he will be finished off here, but the kills have already come in here. Blueberry and Kexi is trying to find this one out. Looking to finish off Sock Monster though. Kexi's might have the damage, lands the taunt, a triple kill for the Shen, but he will go down to Rengus. One member standing on either side, but it is this ginormous Malphite against Blueberry's Morgana. He is not going to stop Rengus doing even more damage to this base.
You know what? I think Rengus can end this here. And basically, Psycho tried to do what I was saying and that they needed to do. Cramp playing out of his mind, staying alive, getting the damage down, and they were able to take him down. But Nocturne, with so much damage, was able to take out. And right now, Blue Bulberry, what can he do against Rengus, who's so strong, does so much damage, and all the minions, they just don't have the wave clear. We have Dakin and Dragon Ship coming up now, though, luckily enough, and Devil, so they are going to stop this.
Respawns coming in the nick of time for Sligo Rovers, but it looks as if their time may be running out here. They lose a Nexus Tower just to the super minions coming on in, and I mean, how do they get back into this? Like you said, they're having so much trouble just clearing the minions coming from their base here. Tree can just camp top side, push these towers down, and if Sligo get too close, another fight, and they're gone.
Yeah, no, crazy, really good play. And what Sligo did there was technically correct, the strategy that I would expect them, what they needed to do. But such good reactions out of 3, and they were able to contain it. You know, the thing is, they managed to shut down Cramp. Unfortunately, Devils fell at the same time. So if he had been able to stay alive, it would have been interesting to see what could have happened there. But once again, Sligo on the back, but 1 turret now on their Nexus. And 3 knows how strong they are, and they know how good they are at team fighting. So I wouldn't be surprised if we just see them pushing in.
We've seen Sligo come very, very close in a lot of these fights to taking out that Lucian and removing that damage, but they just can't seem to finish it off quickly enough. Like, they have to give over Devils the last fight, and before they just haven't been able to actually kill the Lucian and just stand back and pop out the culling to keep his damage in the fight. Sligo have struggled, and they need
Look how
just
hard it is for him
extra.
to clear those minions. I can deal those super minions.
Yeah,
they've got 2 of them. I mean, a huge wave in the top lane for 3 pushing in. So even if they're not able to end this right now, right here, they can rotate straight up.
Oh, Devil's very far forward here, taking so much damage. Dakin jumping back in onto the Throm, but Rengus finds the engage onto 3 here. Shockwave pulls him on in after, and this is certainly it here for Team 3. They are looking to finish off the fight here, and they're cleaning up the kills on the backline. Echo goes down, Shen goes down, Blueberry flashing back to the fountain, but it will be for naught. 3 needed the team fights, and all game long they found them here, and they will remain undefeated as the only 3-0 team in EStars.
3-0 in 3 Islands EStars. What a dominating week 3, coming off a strong week 1, great week 2, really strong week 3, great performance at the end. It was engaged from actually Sock Monster, who's able to get 2 of the opponents, or 3 of them. I wasn't able to see it, but such a good game. But at the same time, on the other side, Sligo played really, really well, and I wouldn't feel down at the end of it. Like, last week they got destroyed, this week they lost a good game, and I would be feeling very confident coming in next week.
And certainly, like we were saying, there are a lot of positives for Sligo, especially in terms of that defense. They managed to keep the heads, they were making the picks and just slowly pushing their way back into it. But those team fights, man, coming out of Team 3, it was just Rengus knew exactly when to go.
Just like, he was so close, well, yeah. Like a little bit of health, and then flashing away, dashing away, like such great play from him. Rengus, no hesitation. But you know, I can talk about everyone, like we've been talking about those 2, but Sock Monster, that's it. He was really great at preventing projectiles, using his ultimate, and Yo did exactly what he needed to do, which was stick the Orianna ball on the right person and pull the trigger. Like, really, just overall, such great play coming out of Team 3.
Exactly, we were skeptical of that comp, but it really all came together, and Team 3 establishing themselves hugely as I mean, you said they were the dark horse. I think now that they're just flat out the #1 team. They are playing so well right now.
They absolutely are. No one expected it. I said they were my sleeper, but they're definitely no one will be sleeping on them from now on. Guys, we have had some great games this week. Next week, we'll be in Dublin. Come, meet us, hang out with us. I'm going to throw it over to Holly for the wrap-up.
This is the biggest challenge of their lives. This is the fastest growing spectator sport in the world.
They seriously don't understand how good I am at this game, and we are going to win this.
Thanks, Nikita. Thanks, David. What a night we've had. But the winners tonight at the end of it all here in Sligo. It wasn't meant to be for Sligo. It was 3 going 3 for 3 for 3. An incredible result. You must be happy with your performance.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy. You know, with the game, how the game went overall. With this result, we're the only team that is 3-0, and you know, all the other top teams coming into it, they've all dropped the game. Maybe they haven't. This day was the day of upsets. Really, I thought, you know, Sligo was a very strong team. I went in, you know, not too confident, but I'm obviously chuffed with the result. But I think maybe people won't really understand from a spectator's view that I can't, like, everyone that game played well. Like, the game was closer than maybe the goal or score would suggest. Obviously, I don't know the figures. But yeah, that was a close game. 45 minutes speaks for itself. And, you know, I think Sligo put up a great fight as expected. But, you know, we took the victory in the end. And, you know, well played to my team. I'm very happy.
Absolutely, Sean, congratulations, a fantastic result, and as you say, it was very, very tight. Kevin, oh, it started so well, started strong, but at what point did you feel it started to slip away from your grasp?
I think, well, firstly, very well played to 3. They played incredible. I think every member in their team played very, very well. But I think Sean, in particular, really took over the game. You know, when you take someone that has so much experience in the game and you put him on a champion that he can literally just control the map, and that's what I really felt like he was doing. He was just controlling everything. And yeah, they out macroed us. I feel the drafts were fairly even. A few surprises in there. The Lucian I definitely wasn't expecting. But yeah, they played their game and they played it incredibly well. And you know what, like times like this, it doesn't actually feel that bad losing, you know, because they played very well.
Absolutely. Kevin, you know what it was an incredible match to watch as well. Well done to both of you. It almost had a grand final feel to it, didn't it, at the end of all that? You two can head off home now. I think we're going to be nearly done here, but there is a grand final to come. It's not too far away. Next week, we're in Dundrum for week 4. The weeks are flying in now. We'll see these guys back in action. Well done to all our winners tonight, to Cork, to Shamrock, to St. Pat's, and of course that shock victory for Bows, as well as 3 tonight. Plenty more to come, and thanks as well to our sponsors too, to 3, to Lucozade, 4-Star Pizza, and to Peak. It's been a great night, but plenty more top e-gaming competition still, esports still to come. We're looking forward to it. We're excited, but remember guys, this is not a game. Good night.